Alright. I know this is kind of impromptu, but to be completely honest, I woke up a bit late today. I had to go to bed with a pseudo-migraine last night. So I didn't get a lot of stuff last night done that I wanted to get done. And, yeah, so I'm here with you guys now, ready and able. We've got about an hour to go here, looks like. 53 minutes, 18 seconds. Excuse me, I am no longer, oops, there we go. No longer actively trying to look into spoilers or anything, so I suppose we'll see if anybody's actually curious what's coming up. That'll be awesome. Hey, Shiryu. I'm actually doing something right now, I suppose, for anybody who's watching this at home or whatever. I am tabulating the list of questions that have been asked on the Concerning Primus series, which is quite a few. I've already got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 questions. So that's 11 weeks worth of Concerning Primus right there. Oh, damn it, Shiryu. I knew it. Oh. Where's my thinger? Suddenly there were two Arshian guys. I sometimes wonder about that because I hear that comment semi-frequently about people who are watching my stuff, and then I start streaming, and then the horror begins. Okay, there we go. On BattleNet, and yep, it is. Which the stream? I'm gonna have to actually figure out the stream page, which is apparently blizzgc.com. And I'll just leave that up there. Hey Takoida, what's up? I'm hoping I get a couple more people. I admittedly am running under an assumption that people other than me are interested in what's about to be announced. That is an assumption. You know, I am very, 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 very curious about what they're about to announce. I really am. So, we'll see. I want some music. If Kirby and Nihilus? Hey, Lucky Angelo. And hey, Liberated. Hoit, hoit, hoit. Kirby and Nihilus? Well, it depends on which happens first, but I think the most likely action is Kirby comes and goes, and then becomes the new Nihilus and everything dies. Hey, Ziflood. Ziflood. What's up? Yes, this page. I want this page right here. Which is apparently just Twitch. Just plain Twitch. So we'll just leave that in the background there. Yeah, doesn't it sure you? I've said this before and I've said this again. I actually know someone who works at Blizzard. I went out of my way to tell him, I'm like, look, I don't want to know anything. The moment I heard the announcement, which was before it was announced live, I was like, I don't want to know anything. Nothing. I feel like I'm the guy in the Matrix. I want to know nothing. Let's get some music going. What do we got? What's something that suits the mood? No, 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 no. Don't do that. Don't do that. Okay, we gotta get to the W's here. Lucky Angelo, it's actually a name I myself used to use back when I was younger, and it's kind of a personal story, but suffice it to say I felt like the name suited me. I don't mean like, oh, nobody understands my pain. No, when I say I was younger, I mean like in my 20s and 30s. And yeah, let's just say I feel like the name suited me, and we'll just leave it at that. No, I actually want to play some WoW music. No, wrong one. We'll go with this one. And what's up, Commander? And what's up, Wyvern? Beautiful. Alright, how's the audio balance? Is it too loud, too soft? I haven't done this in a week! Okay, what other questions do we have here from the Primus stuff? Okay, so Magical theory? I'll put that into this. What's up, little one? Are you done eating? Hey Omni, hey Night Forger, hey Deacon. Well, I do have a Romanian background, yeah. Thanks to my mother's side of the family. Okay, next question. Magical theory, I already put that one down. Oh, wow. Third apparently responded to that with a gargantuan post. Hey Johnny. Already talked about there's already one for Magitech. Lots of people keep asking about the Magitech stuff. That's like the 4th request for a Magitech concerning Primus. Are you done, kiddo? Not yet. Okay. You let me know when you're done, okay, kiddo? Are you done now? Have you gone potty? Don't lie. Stay right there. You still there, kiddo? Are you still there? Good. Yes. Good girl. That's right. muted? I'm not muted. I'll be right back, guys. Okay, sorry about that, guys. I'm back. Okay, that's sudden, but okay. That's sudden! Whatever, I'm not arguing. So, guys. I was in the middle of saying something, I can't remember what now. I also don't know what candy we have. Because I don't think we have any. I'll think about it, okay? Oh, okay. I'll do that then. Yes, you may, but not right now, okay? Now come here. Come here. After a while of taking care of young ones, this is my third I've been taking care of. Come on.
I want to eat some.
We'll get you some, don't worry. after the third one or so of taking care of little ones like this, you kind of get a dull to certain things, like the fact that you have to encourage them to use the bathroom because you're trying to reward them for, you know, for using it. It's part of potty training. It's part of teaching them how to use control and whatnot. And I just realized we're on random, so I have no idea what songs have been playing. This is a song from Lufia 3, the one that's playing right now. They say Black Salamander is epic. There you go. Now let's get these shoes off you. You're not going with Mama, apparently.
What's she doing?
She's going to an interview that I didn't know about until 3 seconds ago, but whatever, I'm still streaming because I'm not missing this event. It's a good thing I didn't fire up a game. I'm not sure I have time to play a game. What? Go ahead. It's all yours, kiddo.
I'm not here.
Okay, back you get.
I want some. I want some of my.
You want some candy?
Yeah.
Well, if you want some candy, you're going to have to eat it at the dinner table.
I'm going to the dinner table.
Yeah, go ahead, Takoida. I'll read it at some point. Which one? This one that's playing right now? Hang on.
Hang on.
Say hi, Deacon.
Hi, Deacon. I put on some music.
That's a great idea, Samurai. Ah, yeah, the Last Dungeon song. I get it. It's a variant because it's the Lufia 3 one, and it's a variance because it's one of mine.
Dungeon song.
I know. Now here, because you've been such a good girl, Uncle Magus is going to be even more late with his stream and is going to ask his streamers to be more patient while he gets you a treat. Come on. Let's get you a treat. Yep, head to the table. And we will get you a treat.
What maggot?
Can you? Oh, of course you can. Enjoy. That might actually not be the one you want. Does that taste good? You sure? Okay. If you like that, there's nothing wrong with that. Oh, God. So anyways, hey everyone who I haven't actually said hi to yet. Yeah, let's get back to the WoW music. Because that's what I was playing. So what do we got here? I'm trying to find the actual thing. Well, apparently there's like an event going on right now. I think? Am I looking at this right? That can't be right. What? Okay, it looks like they're not actually announcing the next expansion until 1745. I don't know if that's Pacific or Eastern, because they tend to do both. Like, sometimes they'll be like, here it is, Blizzard, Pacific, because that's where Blizzard is. And sometimes they'll do the adapt to your time zone, and I'm Eastern. I'm guessing this is Eastern, because there's no way the show starts at 11 a.m. Pacific. My body is ready. Okay, I'm gonna finish tabulating these things. really quick. So someone wants to know about the ley lines. Someone wants to know about the tomb rock. I can't actually answer that question. Damn it. I've gotten a few questions about Primus that I literally cannot answer. And Deutsch would like to know about the Lugians. I've had several species requests so far. I'm glad you liked it, Deacon. And how you liking it so far, Omni? It's funny, the species that have been requested. Several requests about fairies, several requests about mites. One person wanted to know about Lugians. And what else we got here? And that's class descriptions, which is already good. Races and their in-game benefits. I could put that in here. And there, okay, so that's all the questions about Primus that have been asked so far. I will, Permeus. In fact, I'll probably be primarily talking about civilian tech. I'm glad you're liking it, Omni. I mean, it's a great game, so that doesn't surprise me too much. Okay, where is Blizzard's Twitch page? I mean, they have several. So where's the page I actually need? What's up, kiddo? I really don't want to miss this. The Osteth, that is correct. It's not actually a jungle, it's a mountain range. But it's doing place. Are you done, Jaina? Okay. Good. It's time to get you out. You're a mess. Messy girl. Messy girl must be cleaned. You must clean the messy girl. Can we do it?
Yes.
Then let's do it. Up and you're done. You're free. Be free. Be free, little one. To play as you wish. Oh, I should get your ring. You earned this ring.
I'm going to
Do you want your ring back?
yeah.
All right then. Jane, take the ring.
Did you almost step on my coin?
Yes, I did, little one. Hey, Reaper. Thank you, Samurai. Just pull this page up. Announcing absolutely nothing. What do you want to bet? So, oh, it's actually starting. Hang on. So, okay. Hang on. One second, guys. I didn't have the time to set this up like I wanted to. I've been running around taking care of her while trying to get the work done that I didn't get done last night. I'm super behind on my work, by the way. I'm sorry, guys. Yeah. Also, Babylon 5 might be delayed even longer as a result of that. There we are. Okay. I'm gonna shove myself forward here. So... Hey, Chad Hogan, on spring break. What's up, man? Stay cool. Stay frosty. Damn it, Deacon. Okay, as I said, I've been going out of my way to avoid spoilers for this. So here, let's adjust the sound a bit there. I've been so I don't know anything at all guess we'll see how this works out. Oh, so last night, me and several of my friends were actually in WoW for the first time in quite some time. And am I at the right stream? Am I at the right stream, guys? Because this is what I'm seeing. You're seeing what I'm seeing right here. If anybody could verify that, that'd be awesome. So we're just chatting and like joking around. We're talking about what we think the next expansion would be. And we all gave like one serious prediction, and then immediately segued into, oh, it'll be another expansion that has nothing to do with anything. So for those of you not aware, after Cataclysm, everyone was going to... Thank you, guys. Everyone was like, oh, it's just going to be, you know, it's going to be the Old God expansion. We're finally going to go to Ajara, we're going to deal with the Naga, and they'll be the Old Gods. And then we went to Pandaria. Completely out of left field, right? It's not a complaint. I loved Pandaria, but it was completely out of left field. So, you know, then it's like, okay, Pandaria's done lots of hinting about the Legion, lots of stuff going on. It's like, oh my god, what are we going to do? And then we went to the past in an alternate dimension. And there's been a lot of hinting in that storyline about the future, too. It's like, okay, now... So we started joking about what completely unrelated to anything thing the next expansion will be. How it'll be about, like... I can't remember the name of the species all of a sudden, but the big guys who exist in Northrend, it's going to be their species, is going to be the new playable species. It's all going to be about their story arc, going across this island we've never even heard of before, and, you know, blah, 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 blah. And the next thing that'll happen, of course, is we'll have a PvP only zone with no story and no dailies, so it pisses off the PvEers, and it nerfs you in PvP and makes it very easy to be ganked, so it pisses off the PvPers, because we want to piss off all of our player base simultaneously. Well, thank you, Sulfura. That one came from the heart, if you know what I mean. That wasn't like a scripted... It was just, you know what? You know? I mean, I'm sorry, if I could just diverge onto that topic for a bit. I'm going to turn the music down a bit. Is just music back there? In fact, I'm just going to mute that. Go back to our own music. Hey, Arsky, what's up? I don't care what people are saying, Permeus. I have heard people say stupid things about WoW for about 10 years. Actually, I think we're approaching year 11 now. So screw people. I'm just going to say it. My tolerance levels have plummeted in the last few weeks. Anyways. There's a cat in our backyard. If I could diverge a little bit more into that topic for a bit. One of the things that I really love about conventions is it's all about the enthusiasm. Why are, like, all those people, thousands upon thousands, we had record numbers at this year's Gen Con. Record numbers of people all just getting together to talk about games and to play random games and to just sit down with 8 completely random strangers we'd never met before and will never meet again and play some Shadows over Camelot and have some fun with it. And it was a blast! Because we're all there because of mutual enthusiasm. You know, we are completely different people. We are completely different perspectives. We like different things, but what we share, the common thread, is the fact that we enjoy this generalized kind of thing. They're revealing it slowly. I just realized what's going on. The logo is like slowly fading in back there. So that's how that's how they're going to do it. That's actually a really neat trick on Blizzard's behalf. I like that. But yeah, so we're all there to have fun. We're all there because we love being there. And so it gets to me on the rare occasions, because I've only seen it happen like 4 times ever across the dozens of conventions I've been to in my life, where there's just that spoiler sport, the party pooper, if you want to use a less sophisticated term. And don't even get me started on that, Dakota. I don't have anyone to play MTG with other than my sister. It absolutely is, Deacon, and I love going to conventions. Don't mistake me. I mean, I am super behind in my work, and I had to miss SGDQ, but I am super, super happy. Yeah, there is Liberated, about having gone to Gen Con. I had a ball. It was great seeing Charlie again. Hell yes. I mean, you guys may or may not be amazed. I would have conversations with people I was just standing in line with. just some random guy or girl who is just like standing there, and we're all in line, and we're in the line for the same reason. So automatically we have another thread of connection, right? And so like I'm in the line for what was it this year? We were trying to get our coupon books, and we're just like, I can't. We just started talking about what we're going to use our coupons for, and the guys, excuse me, this is actually a girl. The girl was like, oh, I can't wait to get that mug. And I'm like, oh, yeah, do you know where that place is? Oh, yeah, it's over there. Oh, sweet, is their food any good? No. But it'll be worth it for the mug. Awesome, I can't wait to do that, blah, 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 blah. And I really enjoy just the random connections with people. And again, I'll never see any of those people ever again. But it doesn't matter, if you follow me. Now, as I tried to make clear, Deacon, it's not just that people are so-called party poopers. If you watch the rest of that video, I pointed out that I met that same kid later at the table playing MTG, and he was having a ball. And he was, like, helping one of the other younger, like the 7-year-old kid, play the game and trying to get him into it and being very courteous and thorough. It's not like he was just there to ruin people's fun. It's just that I think he didn't fully understand the depths of the circumstances, which doesn't surprise me because he was a teenager. Lord knows I didn't understand things when I was a teenager. But yeah, I love conventions. If under the other side of, if I ever got big enough, which I do hope to, this is my intended career. I intend to keep pushing the show. But if I ever got big enough to actually go to conventions as like a panelist, talking about whatever, maybe showing off Primus stuff, that would be awesome. I'm so gonna do that. I'm gonna like leap onto that and just go to conventions all over the place. I agree, Deacon. Absolutely. That's why I made it a point of saying that. I didn't want to come across as too negative towards that poor kid, because I did feel for the kid. I know what it's like Sulfura mentioned earlier. I think it was Sulfura. Yeah, Sulfur, I mentioned earlier. I know what it's like to be the fifth wheel. I know what it's like to be the guy who doesn't want to be there. It took me years to get to the mindset I'm at now. For example, I'll give you a direct example. Not too many years ago, my dad took me to a brewery. I guess it was actually like a year and a half ago at this point. We went to a Jim Beam brewery, right? I don't care about alcohol. I don't care about like anything involved in that process. But my dad was really into it. And my dad really loved being there. So the perspective I have now that I learned over years and years of practice, bless you, is that I may not enjoy this, bless you, but he enjoys it, so I can enjoy him enjoying it, if that makes any sense. So just being there with him, enjoying his enjoyment was good enough for me. And so I was able to keep a positive attitude. I was able to be interested and engaged in the situation. And I was able to be, when Dad was like, oh, look at this cool thing, I could also enthuse about it. Because we had a common thread of enthusiasm, even if I wasn't actually interested in alcohol. Make sense? But I'm not saying that's like the right path. I'm just saying that's what it took me years to learn that mentality in order to be interested in other people's interests, if you follow me. Yeah, I'm well aware of the sun. The sun is my nemesis. So you notice they're really slowly revealing that up there. But yeah, I can't help but notice if that's animated, because for those of you not aware, the World of Warcraft globe spins in the logo. Like watch any of the animated shorts where it shows, World of Warcraft Cataclysm, World of Warcraft, Wrath. The globe spins. If that globe is spinning up there, there's no land mass up there. You see that? Up where Northrend should be? There's nothing up there. I've been watching it for a bit. Now, hey Pencil, what's up? My friend Pax actually came up with, you guys know who Pax is. Pax actually came up with an idea, a legitimate idea, if they wanted to do another one of those out-of-nowhere things, if they wanted to do another out-of-nowhere expansion that has nothing to do with anything. What they could do is something they wanted to do years ago. Hear me out, because I think this is a legitimate possibility. All the way back in Outland, all the way back there, they went out of their way to add lots of different dark portals all the way across Outland. They actually added like 5 total, right? And the point of those 5 those 5 portals, or however many there were, was what they wanted to do, and the developers were very open about this. They were actually saying this in interviews and stuff. We want the availability to go to other worlds like that. We want, like, the infinite landscape, to be able to design whatever we want as we fight the Burning Legion. Then we went to Wrath. Then we went to Kata and Pandaria and Warlords. The funny thing is, we couldn't go to those infinite worlds. We couldn't go to those other worlds back in Outland, but now that we've been to Draenor, you see how these threads kind of tie up here. We might actually be going to another world. So that's his guess, his legitimate guess for a unrelated to anything expansion is we're going to be going to one of the Legion worlds, for lack of a better term. One of the alien worlds that is either under siege by or is actively conquered by or fighting against the Legion, other than Azeroth or Draenor. That is really hard to see there. So, I think that's actually a genuinely good possibility of happening. If they're not doing the Old Gods Ashara expansion, if they're not doing the Legion expansion, then I think that's the best possibility. So I'm actually going to go ahead and put my stamp on that. And yeah, I don't think the globe's not spinning at all. I can see it. There's something there. When I actually look at the larger image, there's definitely something there, and it's just not moving at all. It is getting more and more revealed, though. I'm actually hyped. I'm actually like, come on! I'm sorry, guys. I know. No. Turn up the brightness. Hang on, crank! I don't think it's gonna help. No, it's definitely being revealed. It's just really slow. Hey, Cougar. Excuse me, Che Guevara. And hey, Lorerunner. Expansion for World of Warcraft. Now, yeah, I know, Tigran. Let me be blunt. Ooh, that's a good idea, Kamek. We will do exactly that. We'll get a screenshot right now. I'll push it into Corel really quick. Because why would I use paint? Elitism, go! Okay, there's my first one. First screenshot. And I'll take another one at like 50. So, I love World of Warcraft. Even to this day. I know this is kind of a weird opinion, and a opinion that gets blasted a lot, but it is the truth. I do still love World of Warcraft. I do still enjoy it. I do still play it for fun. Shrug. I'm looking forward to doing the WoW lore run. I really am. That does not mean Blizzard can do no wrong. I am not a fanboy. Just because I like games that Blizzard puts out does not make me a Blizzard fanboy. Now this is relevant because Blizzard's made a lot of serious mistakes lately. I shouldn't say mistakes. They've done a lot of things I don't agree with lately. They've done a lot of things that I don't, like, that I don't agree with. And I am admittedly worried about the next expansion. Now, I liked Warlords. But there were some serious flaws with Warlords. The way they did Tanan, the way they limped on the flying issue. They shouldn't have done the flying issue the way they should have. They should have done earn the flying at the beginning. That was a good idea. Earning flying is a good idea in my opinion. Thank you, Deacon. World of Tanks! That would be funny. Earning flying is a good idea. I like that. What I do not like is the fact that they didn't even... That's not even in yet. I mean, we can work on the achievement right now, but we still can't fly. That should have been done day one. You should have been able to earn flying all the way back then, and that would have made going through Warlords on alts a lot better and a lot smoother, and made it feel more rewarding. That's my first thought on that. Second thought. The end game of Warlords was weird. I've talked about this before. They are in such a weird... They've painted themselves into such a weird corner. And I know people are going to disagree with me with this, and I don't give a damn, because I am right, damn it. In my opinion, I am right, of course. They have become so good at designing raids, designing bosses and encounters, that they are very well balanced. That means there's no artificial difficulty. In other words... Artificial difficulty is what elongates raids and makes people play them more because they're not well designed. It's the reason we spent so long to kill so many bosses back in Vanilla and BC. And even Wrath, actually. So many. Hey, Ashia. So many of those raid bosses took so long just because they weren't well designed, because they were not actually properly difficulty curved. They were just like, you know, health gates, or they were DPS gates, or they were gear gates, and so people spent more time on them. You don't have to do that now because they're well designed, but that's the problem. As weird as it sounds, the good design has damned them because now people are pushing through the content. Hello, little one. What are you doing? You are a mess. Oh my gosh, come here, come here. Oh, yeah. People are pushing through the content so much quicker, and therefore getting bored more, because at this point we have real difficulty, and all real difficulty requires is actually trying, is actually, you know, paying attention and doing it right, you know? So that you see the problem there. People are just pushing through the content faster than they can produce it because it's too well designed. And there are ways around that. You can add artificial time gates like they did back with Sunwell, for example. But that's just a whole other problem. It's literally just putting a time gate saying, no, stop, in order to artificially elongate the content, which is why they don't want to do that. It's such a horrible situation for them to be in, you know what I mean? Has it been 5 minutes yet? No, not yet. It's only been like 2. Other things they've done wrong. Tanan is not bad. No, don't play with that. It's a tool. It's not a toy. Hey, Jenny, you need to not lean on this. Stop. You're going to knock it over. There you go. It can't support your weight, little one. Okay? It looks sturdy, but it isn't. So it won't actually support your weight, okay? Here, do you want to lay on the pillow?
Yeah.
I'm going to put it out here. Now you can lay on it. There you go.
I can jump on it.
Yes, you can. Tanan is infinitely better than Timeless Isle, but it's still not the best, if you follow me. Tanan has... let me explain the ups and downs of Tanan for me personally. I'm going to turn this down just a bit. Hey, Deutsch, I was just talking about you. Seriously. I don't think the logo's revealing itself either. We'll find out in like 3 more minutes here. Anyways, so here's the ups and downs of Tanan for me. Ups. The dailies are actually pretty cool. I like the event system. I love what they've done with rares. For those of you not aware, this is actually a brand new type of rare that exists in Tanan. Because we had 2 types of rares before this. Standard rare, which is rare spawn, rare drop, and you know, whoever tags it gets it. And then we had what I call rare nyatas, which was the stuff we had all throughout Warlords. You can only kill them once and get... Well, you can kill them many, many times. If you tag it, you're part of the kill, so you get loot from it. You automatically get a static drop from it, which may upgrade. So there's like no detriment to fighting these things at all. And you want to just like kill as many as you can. These new type of rares that are in Tanan are like a weird mix of the two. Because unlike rare nyatas, you could kill the rares in Tanan over and over and over and still get benefit from them. They still share credit across everyone who tags them, and they're useful for some of the dailies and, you know, all that stuff. So it's really like the best version of rares I've seen. So that's a huge plus for me. Like I said, I like the daily design. I like the way that they've laid that out. I really enjoy the general terrain. Tanan is a very well-designed terrain-wise. It's not irritating or frustrating to get anywhere. It's obviously designed to be, you know, smooth travel, ground-wise, and there's lots of shortcuts to get around quickly, so all this is good. And there's just a little bit of flavor in basically everywhere you're going to be. Things I don't like about Tanan, the near total lack of story. The story is told through the Garrison campaign, which isn't even really in Tanan, so that doesn't count. So there really is no actual story other than the flavor that I already mentioned over here. So, bleh. Several of the dailies can be kind of grindy to push through, and I don't mean like, you know, difficult. I mean grindy, like it's just like, ugh, am I done yet? Now this is kind of a weird complaint because it's only grindy when you're alone. Now, I tend to do daily solo because I don't have anyone else playing the game with me right now. However, to give you an example, like I said last night, Pax and I ran WoW, and it was way better. It was way better pushing through those dailies. So that's kind of a weird thing over there. And the final thing I don't like about Tanan is I really, really wish we could fly there. I know, it's weird. That is, as you can see, that's still a big net positive, but I still think that they could have done better. Basically, my biggest complaint by a huge margin is the lack of story. A WoW zone with no story is like a contradiction in terms. Do you have any idea how much lore there is in Warcraft at this point? Warcraft challenges the bigs, like the really large scale things that have tons of lore. Warcraft is up there in the range of like Star Trek and Star Wars with regards to sheer amount of lore that exists to it today. So having an entire zone that has basically no lore in it, no story in it, is just what? I actually shaved yesterday, or 2 days ago. Excuse me. So yeah, that's just I don't get that. It's like Silithus used to be, for those of you who were around back then. It's also like Timeless Isle, although again, way better than Timeless Isle. I hated Timeless Isle. I could not stand Timeless Isle. I spit on that zone. Okay, we're almost at the 5-minute mark. I think you guys are right. I think it's not actually being revealed. We're gonna find out in a moment, though. So let's go ahead and take the screenshot. And we'll do a literal side-by-side comparison. Okay, yeah, it's not being revealed at all. 5 minutes, it hasn't changed a bit, and I could literally pixel to pixel compare that. Damn. I am sad. Nice, Omni. You gonna do a like a marathon or whatever of them? Anyways, Tigran, Tanan is actually the end game zone right now, such as it is. Again, no story. Yeah, let's see what they're doing over here. So they're just playing random WoW music, just like I am. Yeah, I see. It definitely has revealed a little bit, but in the last 5 minutes, it has not moved, like I said, so much as a pixel. So I guess I'll just kind of keep an eye on it and see if it reveals a bit more. What's the time for that? Supposedly about 7 more minutes. I feel like Thrall's story has fully and formally concluded at this point in time. I really do. I like Thrall as a character. I do. I've liked him since Warcraft 3. No, I didn't like him in the game that never came out. I can't remember the name of it. But I did like him in Warcraft 3, and I did like his character progression through WoW. He's actually been through 3 character arcs. So, shrug. But his latest character arc has definitively concluded, and I feel like there are so many other interesting characters that really should be getting the limelight. Should be in the forefront. Yeah, I actually think Thrall should basically go back to being a support secondary character, and we should see way more of other characters. Lorthamar is a character I'd love to see more of. They did a lot with him in Pandaria, really made him into an interesting, fascinating character. I liked that. I would love to see more of Vol'jin actually doing some cool stuff. Vol'jin was pretty cool once upon a time, and I guess kind of still is, but, you know, whatever. He had his own book, for God's sakes. There's a few other characters. I really hope that we could conclude Sylvanas' story arc soon. It's been, to be blunt, it's been dragging on. Sylvanas' story arc basically reached the critical point in Cata. During Cata, Sylvanas had reached the point where it's like, this is now where her story arc is going. It's very clear. All that needs to do is the conclusion. And then Pandaria came out and just kind of kept going with that. And then the book came out and that just kind of kept going with that. And both of them were just delaying, if you know what I mean. Like if you could actually picture the character arc right here. Like this. Here's the start, here's the conclusion. She reached here in Cata, but Pandaria just reiterated this point. And then Warlords has also actually reiterated this point. So she needs to conclude her character arc and actually go where her character arc is going and actually do what we all know she's about to do. Also, I don't have Lament of the Highborn locally. I don't have the song. But I would like to see Sylvanas' character arc complete. What? I don't understand Reaper's comments, by the way. I would love to see Illyria and Turelion come back, although remember that kind of guess I made earlier about the Legion world us going to, you know, somewhere else like Argus? That would be the prime point to bring Illyria and Turelion back into it, wouldn't it? I don't know if Sylvanas can be saved. I mean, we all thought Arthas couldn't be saved, and then that kind of had a last minute, oh, by the way, everything you know is wrong moment, which was awesome, by the way. That was a fantastic conclusion to his character arc. The fact that he was a hero the whole time was just mind-blowing when I first saw that. But anyways, so I don't know if Sylvanas can be redeemed, but it is worth noting Sylvanas has become evil of her own accord at this point. Arthas didn't do that. Most of the evil characters, they have something influencing them, right? But Sylvanas has been pulling a Garrosh, if you know what I mean. And if you don't, I'll explain it briefly. I'm going to be talking a lot about this when I do the WoW lore run, by the way. I'm going to have an insane amount of stuff to talk about, trust me. Sylvanas had the influence making her do evil things, and then that influence went away. All the way back in Warcraft 3, that influence went away. Ever since then, she has been doing evil acts, committing atrocities and horrible, disgusting, terrible things on her own volition, on her own mind, without any hesitation. She has become an evil bastard without external influence. So that's the distinction between her. It's the same reason I said Garrosh probably couldn't be redeemed, because he didn't want to be redeemed. He had no mentality for that. He chose his path knowingly and willingly, just like she has. Now, as I mentioned, there are some niggles in that, and I'll talk about that when we get to the lore run. But I don't think Sylvanas should be redeemed. I think she should be removed from the equation. And that's how I'm going to say that. So, now, not to talk about Illidan too much, but who here has heard my way that I would bring Illidan back? It was back before Warlords even came out. I did a whole stream about it, about how I would do the Warlords story arc. What's our time? Should be soon. Here, let's see if there's any audio yet. Nope, not yet. Debatable, Deacon, but I would say no, personally. Well, he was being influenced but not corrupted, if you understand the difference. Yes, the Army of Light. Nirazaz knows what I'm talking about. Wow, Takoida. But yes, the Army of Light. The idea here is you have two types of leadership. You have the leader who's good at wartime and knows how to lead armies and lead to victory, and you have a leader who's good in peacetime. A leader who's good at not being a war leader. A leader who's good at taking care of things at home. A leader who's good at diplomacy. A leader who's good at infrastructure. You know, that kind of thing. Jaina, Adeline. Stop right now. Stop. 1, 2. Come here right now. When I say stop, little one, come here. When I say stop, it's not because I'm angry. It's because I'm worried. You might have just hurt yourself. And if you kept running away, I might not have been able to help you. When I say something, you have to follow what I say, because I am doing it out of concern for you. Do you understand?
I understand.
Now, what you did was you knocked over something. It's okay. It doesn't matter. I have now had time to reconnoiter the circumstances. But you do not need to run away from me. Okay? Okay?
Okay. I left my magnets.
Well, you can go get your magnets. But I want you to apologize. What do you say?
I say what I want to do.
No, little one. You say, I am sorry for not listening.
I'm sorry for not listening.
And I am sorry for running away.
And I'm sorry for running away, and it makes noise when I run away.
It's okay. I forgive you. Mwah. Now go. Have fun. Where was I? You want me to open that for you, or can you get it?
I can get.
Good. You're getting good at using your fingers. She'll be a gamer in no time. Oh, hang on. Is it? There's no audio. I don't hear anything. Have I ever mentioned I love Warcraft's music?
All right, welcome and hello to the Blizzard stage at Gamescom in Cologne. We're coming to you live from Germany. And as you can hear, everyone is as excited as
Look
can get
at that crowd.
in this lovely hall. And I'm pretty sure every World of Warcraft fan out there watching the stream is bursting with excitement because in just a few minutes, we're going to reveal the new World of Warcraft expansion. We're gonna have 3 members of the lovely World of Warcraft development team coming here on this stage, revealing the expansion and sharing everything they can with us today. But before all of that is gonna happen, I just wanna make sure that we're all up at speed, right? We wanna know where we stand right now in World of Warcraft, and that's why we prepared a little video for you on the story so far. And I tell you something, apparently, I have been told that there's a little surprise at the end, so let's try to watch out for that, and let's look at the video.
The Iron Horde will prevail, and all that stand against us will die. Storm the portal! Rise up, Iron Horde! Bring your war chief. Their heads. This was not our destiny. You will all die!
Just you.
You must answer for your crimes, Garrosh. All I did for the Horde! You chose your own destiny. How dare you show your face here, Gul'dan? You men have died for nothing. There is only one choice. I will build a new Horde. I will forge an unstoppable weapon. They will defy you. Gul'dan failed. Jaina is free!
You don't think it's over?
I fear this is only beginning.
You know, I love their cinematics. I really do, but I hate that last
so
line.
that is the story so far. Interesting. So now, of course, the big question is, where do we go next? What is happening next? And I'm pretty sure I'm not the only one curious to that question, and that means we really want to know more, don't we? We do.
By the way, this is how you do a presentation.
To
Don't go up there and do the...
And then the game director and vice president himself, Tom Chilton, ladies and gentlemen. Tom, it's always great to see you back. It's not your first Gamescom. You're looking at so many excited faces. How excited are you about this announcement?
No joke. This is really, really exciting. This is amazing. I love coming to Gamescom, and frankly, this is why.
Yeah, I mean, it's an amazing crowd. That's pretty darn obvious. Yeah, it really is. Now, you can tell the atmosphere here is pretty good, I would say.
Yeah,
it's pretty
I
darn
would say
good.
so.
How is it in the office? You guys have been working on a secret for such a long time now.
Yeah, we really have. We've been in production on this expansion for quite some time now, and it's always very hard to keep things under wraps and talk about what's happening right now and not really spoil things for the future too much. So it's really exciting for us, really gratifying for us to finally be able to share that with you all.
Well, the good thing is, I read
It was a very
lot of
good thing they didn't narrow his ass. I can explain later if you want.
But yeah, I don't know. I don't think anyone really hit the nail so far. So that no one did, and that makes it all the more exciting. Now, you brought us a little something to ease into the topic. What are we going to see now?
Right, exactly. So what we're going to do is we're going to show you a video that it's really an important connecting point between the end of the storyline of Warlords of Draenor and the next expansion. And so hopefully you guys will really get excited for what that connecting point is.
All right, so let's take a look at it.
Hey, Gweg here. Totally called it. Totally called it.
Oh my God. I'm actually having goosebumps right now. I can't even. All right, let's talk about what we just saw.
That was
part
Illidan.
of the CGI, if I understood correctly.
Well, this is actually a completely independent piece that is just meant to be a connecting tissue between the expansions. You know, clearly Khadgar was right not to trust what just happened with Gul'dan, that we wouldn't see the last of him. So Gul'dan, in much the same way that Garrosh Hellscream set in motion the events of Warlords of Draenor, Gul'dan is setting up the events of the next expansion.
Oh my God. Guys, are you excited for this expansion or what? Wow. All right, but of course, there's a lot more before we're going to reveal, because that isn't even the big reveal yet. There's more to come. You guys have more to share, as you have a team of development guys here on stage in just a bit to talk about it and give some more in-depth views on it and see how much you can share. But you brought us another video, right?
Yeah, we did. So next up, we're going to see the actual announcement trailer with the features and content. So let's roll it.
Come on, be what I want you to be. Be what I want you to
Yeah,
be.
so let's take a look at this announcement trailer right now.
On Draenor, old rivals sought to bring Azeroth to its knees. And while the Iron Tide was quelled, they were but servants of a more ancient foe that has not forgotten our defiance. The vengeance of the Burning Shadow has come.
About time we get class stuff again.
And in our most desperate hour, we must wield the power of the enemy against them. For we stand once more upon the brink of destruction. The Burning Legion has returned.
Woo. I hurt my hand. I smashed my hand so hard on my chair. It actually hurts when they did the Demon Hunter reveal.
World of Warcraft Legion. That's the next chapter in the
I like the
saga
Illidan shirt.
of the World of Warcraft. So, what we have for you next is actually going to be a presentation by both myself and a couple of my other colleagues to go into more depth on the content and the features. So hopefully you guys will learn a lot more about the expansion. But first, let me introduce my colleagues. First up, we have Alex Afraziabi, our creative director. So Alex was one of our very first quest designers, and he was actually the very first lead quest designer ever to exist on the World of Warcraft team. He's driven a huge part of our story development for the last dozen years. So Alex. Next up, we have Ian Hazakostas, lead game designer. So as lead game designer, Ian's responsible for a lot of things. Most recently, you guys may be aware that he's been responsible for our boss encounters for both dungeons and raids for many, many years now, several expansions. In addition, he's been
Not to contradict you, Permeus, but that's actually not true. The reason they went to the Alliance is because that's what happened at the beginning of Warcraft 3. Remember that? Medivh went to Stormwind to inform the King of Stormwind that the Legion had come. And now Khadgar, who has taken up the mantle of Medivh, has gone to Stormwind to inform the Stormwind that the Legion has come.
Give you a little bit more insight into the events
Yeah,
of
story!
Warcraft Legion. What you see on the screen right here is actually a teaser still shot from the introductory cinematic that will be revealed at a later date, coming relatively soon. So, eat it up. Right there, clearly, a pretty significant character is involved.
No more complaining
We'll
about
also be
orcs.
talking about setting. As mentioned in the video, the Broken Isles. It's this new continent that players haven't experienced before, but has been referenced back in Warcraft 3. We'll be giving you more insight into the zones and the inhabitants of those zones and what happens.
Also true. Do what Nether just said.
We'll also be talking about dungeons and raids. We've got to have dungeons and raids. We'll be talking about those artifact weapons you saw about. A little concept piece there from our team. Neat stuff. We'll be talking about demon hunters, of course. New class. And finally, the new PvP honor system. We'll be going into detail on exactly what that is and how it works. So I'm going to hand it off to Alex to talk about our story and setting.
Thanks, Tom. Well, well. Hello, Gamescom. I am honored to be standing before you today to be talking about our new expansion. I do want to mention one thing. I am not Chris Metzen. I'm a little taller, my nose is bigger. That's how they tell us apart at work. All right, let's get to it. So Legion takes place on the Broken Isles. This is a land at the heart of Azeroth that is long forgotten. 10,000 years ago, before the Great Sundering, this whole area was a vast, bustling night elf civilization. And what we have now, after the world was destroyed, is the bones of that civilization. So this continent, in its entirety, is a graveyard of sorts. And it's on this continent that we will discover the Tomb of Sargeras. That's right, some old school War 3 players. Now the tomb is an active gateway to endless Legion worlds thanks to Gul'dan. A demonic invasion bigger than the War of the Ancients is currently underway. Let me repeat this. This is the biggest demonic invasion of Azeroth ever. And what are we gonna do about it? We're gonna sit around. We're gonna fight. That's right, because that's what we do. And to do that, we're gonna track down the source of this invasion at the Broken Shore and take the fight directly to Gul'dan and his demonic armies. And after a glorious battle at the Tomb of Sargeras, our story will begin. So this whole thing will actually start before the expansion even officially launches. The Broken Shore experience, someone's happy. The Broken Shore experience is like the Assault on the Dark Portal for Warlords, but structured completely differently to help tell the story a little bit better. And I think one of the things that's going to happen after this experience is every single person in this room that has played WoW in the last 5 to 10 years is going to be really, really surprised and shocked. 100% sure on that one. Is that right? I'm sure I'll get a lot of hate from Twitter on that. Okay, so let's get into it. Once the dust settles, after the Broken Shore, we will wake up to a world on fire and probably a massive headache. But we're not going to let a headache stop us from saving our world. Oh yes, we will hoist up the fabled artifacts of those we have lost and those that have lost hope. And we will attempt to restore peace to a world on the brink of annihilation.
I have something to say about this. I just don't want to interrupt them.
We'll form class orders, powerful class orders.
Also, class orders for the win.
Or renew old ones, like the Silver Hand. This is a combination of extremely super exciting features for us. Ian's going to go into a lot more detail on that shortly, but it's amazing, guys. How are we feeling about those demon hunters, guys?
Admit it. You're all gonna make one. Just admit it.
Sorry, I can't hear you. I was getting water. How about those demon hunters? Good? We're going to need all the help we can get to fight the Burning Legion. And who better than demon hunters? I mean, it's in their name. But to do that properly for us, we need to establish context. Because guys, the last time we faced demon hunters at all, they all wanted to kill us, mostly. And after this, they may still want to kill us a little bit. So, we will see through Illidan's eyes the story of the demon hunters, the Illidari. We will go back to the moment during the siege of the Black Temple where we see Illidan send his demon hunter Illidari back on a special mission. So, anyone play Burning Crusade in here? Yeah! So you guys remember, back in the Burning Crusade, when we were running up the Black Temple in the halls, and we were all excited to go take out Illidan, and we're praying for Warglaives to drop. Well, Illidan had other things going on in the background, like sending his best, most elite demon hunters
Now,
on a suicide.
this is a retcon, but I'm okay with it, and I can explain why if anybody wants me to.
So we'll go through their past into the shattered, demonic prison world of Mardoon. This is the world that Sargeras created when he was a good Titan to hold all of the demons that he captured.
No, we're not time traveling. This is going to be a tutorial instance, just like the Death Knights got, just like the Worgen got, just like the Goblins got, just like the Pandarans got. It's a starter instance.
And released what would become the Burning Legion. We'll go there. And we'll come into the present, where we will go through the secret halls of the Vault of the Wardens. And when all is said and done, we will learn what it means to be a demon hunter and understand the true meaning of sacrifice. And we'll turn into awesome metamorphosized demon hunters. Tom's going to talk on that later. But guys, this is Warcraft. And I did say that this was the biggest Legion invasion we have ever faced. So I don't know if artifacts and demon hunters are going to be enough. We're going to have to turn to the big guy in the sky, or big guys and gals in the sky. And I'm talking about the Titans. Yes! No, well.
Yeah, I know, Darker. What Darker just said is mostly why I'm okay with this retcon.
Scour the Broken Isles.
They messed up Illidan during BC, so what they're doing is trying to retcon that mess up to make it make sense and continue Illidan's story arc. That's why I'm okay with it, in summary.
And it's only with these relics that we can actually close this massive gateway, this wound at the heart of the Tomb of Sargeras. Now, speaking of help, Dalaran and the mages of the Kirin Tor,
who are Alliance right now,
will also be joining us. And that means Dalaran is going to be coming to the Broken Isles and becoming a main hub for players for this expansion.
Yes, give me a main hub! That was another thing I really didn't like about Warlords. Give me a main hub that isn't my garrison.
Now, I can't say where Jaina went, but she was pissed off when she left. Now,
Jane, are you pissed off?
Let's talk about some zones.
Okay.
In no particular order. Our quest to defeat the Burning Legion.
Yes, I will,
goes to
Nerzes.
Basharah. Once the pinnacle of Druidism on Azeroth, now a forgotten Druid refuge on the Broken Isles. This is the place, guys, that Malfurion became the first Druid under Cenarius. So this whole area is steeped in really rich lore, especially if you're a fan of Night Elven Druidic lore.
Yeah, for those who don't know, this is like, most of Kelderai is gone. We don't actually have most of it at this point because it's been built over. So this is actually going to be what's actually left of the Kelderai. The Ashara Empire.
He's trying to unleash the Emerald Nightmare into our world. So along the way, we'll meet up with demigods, like Cenarius, and aspects, probably Ysera, definitely Ysera.
Even though she's not really that powerful anymore.
Fight back the Nightmare. And we'll also enter the Obsidian Fortress of Blackbrook Hold.
Now, I thought the Nightmare was gone as of now. And if it's not, that means Inzoth is still actively doing it as opposed to doing it through the satyr whose name escapes me.
We can't fight back Xavius.
Xavius, that's his name. Xavius should be dead.
It's pointless.
He was in the book. He died in the book.
We can't beat the Legion. So what are we going to do? We're going into the Emerald Nightmare, and we're going to dispense some justice.
We've only been waiting for that since vanilla.
And while we're there, we're going to get a couple big glimpses into the Emerald Dream.
That's true, Liberated. Storm Rage might not be canon.
And it's time.
She's actually named after Jaina Solo, by the way.
All right.
Coincidence.
On to Stormheim.
I mean, I'm okay with going to the Emerald Nightmare. I really am. But that story thread was ended in Storm Rage.
That left Northrend thousands of years ago in search of their Holy Land. We'll discover the Halls of Valor and Helheim.
Yes, more Vrykul. I liked the Vrykul. I wanted to see more of them.
Thousands of years. We'll also learn of the origins of the Valkyr and the Kavaldir as we ride the massive ship of souls, the Naglfar, into the maw of hell. And all the while this is going on, we'll be fighting the Vrykul's God King and his minions, who are now pawns of the Burning Legion. Stormheim's a beautiful area, by the way, and totally scary.
I'd just like to say I love the visuals of WoW. I have for a long time.
So you know when I first talked about
These places look really, really
what this
nice.
expansion was built upon, the bones of that ancient Night Elf civilization.
I'm already loving the architecture. You see in the far left picture there? That's some awesome looking architecture for the old Kaldera Empire.
On the zone here, you will instantly see that this place was once something very special. And it's still special in a different way.
That's just what I was just thinking of Dark Soul.
The ghosts
Or Darker Soul.
of the area, a dying breed of the blue dragonflight, and will be introduced to the Nightfallen, exiled royalty from Suramar that have been left to die outside the protected walls of their city. We'll also be racing someone named Queen Ajara and her minions for
Who?
control of the Pillar of Creation in the zone. Overall, a pretty epic experience. Moving on. High Mountain. High Mountain. At the highest point of the Broken Isles, we find High Mountain, home to the High Mountain Tauren, the keepers of the relic of Khaz'goroth. Also, the keepers of really badass horns, if you paid attention to that cinematic before us. If you didn't, you gotta check it out. Huge elk horns. High Mountain's rough terrain. Rough, tough, it'll kill you. Which is why only the biggest and strongest creatures of the Broken Isles live up here. Like the Drogbar. And we're gonna have to kill a lot of Drogbar to save this world. And while we're there, we're gonna visit the lair of the Earth Warder, Neltharion, and seek some answers.
Ooh.
Get some answers. For those of you that don't know, Neltharion, during the War of the Ancients, became Deathwing. You know, that guy knows. Became Deathwing, and then during Cataclysm, he just became dead. And so, we don't have him to worry about anymore. But
We had to kill him twice, in fairness.
While we're up here, we may also run into some other friends. This is a big area, there's big game, there's a big hunt. Nessingwary is going to be close by.
Damn it, Nessingwary, go home, you're drunk.
And lastly for today, guys, I'm going to hit on Suramar. At the heart of Suramar, we will discover a new race of elves. Made off of an old race of elves.
Yeah, tell me about it, Octavian.
These elves have lived here for the last 10,000 years and flourished from the use or abuse of their incredible magical ability. Unfortunately, they have become pawns of the Burning Legion as well. More bad news, they have the last relic that we need. So what that means is we'll have to kill every single one of them, plus all of the elite Legion guards that guard their city, and probably Gul'dan to secure that last relic. I didn't say it was going to be easy. One last thing before I hand it off to Ian. I want to head off one question. I know there will be thousands of them after this presentation is over, but one question.
Be about Illidan. Be about Illidan.
This is a question that we have been asked at every single BlizzCon since the inception of BlizzCon. And I'm happy to announce it here at Gamescom. What about Alleria and Turalyon?
Okay, you know what? I'm okay with that. I'm okay with that.
Their time is here. Thank you. Ian?
Finally! Yes, finally! Sorry. We've been asking about that since we met his son, their son, back in BC.
Hey, hello, Gamescom. Thank you, Alex, for that great introduction to the Broken Isles and the world of Legion. And I want to talk a bit about artifacts and class orders that you saw in the intro video, and then we'll move on to talk about dungeons and raids. So, artifacts. Weapons, obviously, but what are they? What's the deal with them? So, as Alex mentioned, the Legion represents the greatest single threat to our world that we have ever faced. And in order to fight this ultimate enemy, we need the ultimate
I still need
weapons.
to talk about
We need
artifacts.
weapons of greater power than any we've ever had before in order to stand a chance. And that's where artifacts come into play. Every single specialization in the game is going to have their own artifact to seek out and to wield and to use against the Legion. So depending on your class and your spec, that will heavily affect the way your story plays out and what you're interacting with in terms of the system. So, well, what are they? How do they fit in? The first thing you're going to do when you begin the Legion experience after the events of the Broken Shore is seek out the artifact for your spec. Follow your destiny and heed that calling to take up this ultimate weapon. And that experience is going to vary depending on what class.
I'm going to talk over this guy for just a little bit.
So, for example, if you're
Here's my thoughts on, because he's just explaining classes right now. Here's my thoughts on artifacts. Ever since Pandaria, they've made a decisive point to make the player characters the big guys. As of Pandaria onwards, we actually feel like we are one of the epic members of the storyline, the player characters. That's something they've been really pushing, and along with that more focus on single-player, story-focused quest lines, right? That continued into Warlords, right? This is why I'm okay with the artifacts idea, because the weapons we wield should be artifacts at this point in time. We should, we should be the ones wielding these amazing, powerful artifacts. We have officially passed Thrall. You follow? We are beyond Thrall. We are beyond Varian. We're the main characters of WoW now. So I'm okay with us getting these amazing artifact weapons. That's all I want to say on that.
So these artifacts, they are your true companions. They are the things upon which you will rely as you journey through the Broken Isles and through the world of Legion.
Also, this sounds a lot like living
level up,
weapons,
you gain experience,
which is
your
a thing in my
character gains
Primus
levels.
campaign.
But as you accomplish deeds in the world, you will also earn artifact power for your weapon. Artifact power is something you will earn through a wide variety of activities.
Yeah, exactly, Liberated. Exactly. And I agree with Deacon as well.
Objectives, winning a PvP battleground, virtually any nature type of activity in World of Warcraft will contribute to leveling up your artifact. Now, this artifact power that you earn, what do you do with it? Well, you're going to spend it to unlock traits that empower your weapon and empower your own character. In addition, you can also have a number of visual customizations that you'll be able to unlock and explore. Ultimately, you control the destiny of your artifact. You customize the path in which you unlock those traits.
Yeah, Ashbringer's going to be
choose
Ret
your
Paladin.
path to greatness.
You already mentioned that.
Now let's get into
Frostmourn's going to be Frost Death Knight. I don't know the rest.
So, Ashbringer. This is a quick screenshot of the UI for Ashbringer. Now, each artifact has a trait tree like this. It's kind of a grid.
Okay, this is
overlaid
brilliant.
on the
I need to
outline of the
explain
weapon
why at some
itself.
point. Don't let me forget
And
why the
as
talent
you earn
system here is
artifact
brilliant.
Power, you can spend them to unlock these traits. Once you unlock a trait, the adjacent nodes unlock and become things that you can spend at power in, and ultimately you choose what you want to work towards, you choose how you want to navigate this tree, and what you want your weapon to be. And at the far ends of the trees are major impactful abilities, such as the one we see on the screen here. This is something that will essentially cause your Ashbringer to duplicate some of your most powerful abilities.
Exactly, Darker. You already know what I'm going to say.
Let's look at the
You already know what I'm going
frostbite
to say.
knives. Again, different weapons, different silhouette to the weapons, and therefore a different outline to the grid.
Yeah, okay.
Ultimately, the same
I'm going
general
to mute him.
concept.
He's just talking about what I'm about to say.
Begin at a central
This is what became of Path of the Titans. We're going to be... They got rid of the old talent system, and I agree with that, by the way. I like the new talent system, but I also like the customization the old talent system gave. And they wanted to have both. They wanted to have the new talent system of meaningful talents and the old talent system of significant customization. This is how they have their cake and eat it too. They bring the old talent system back in to these weapons, so we're going to literally have both talents now.
trailer earlier. As we see in the menu here, this Ashbringer, we've got also a number of different variants.
And we can change the appearance, which is awesome.
Where many Ret Paladins will wield Ashbringer, it's important to really be able to feel unique and like your expression is like your weapon is an expression of the character that you want to play, of the things that you value, and of your accomplishments in the world. So these different looks to the weapon are things that you will be able to unlock through a wide variety of means. Some of them simply by leveling up your weapon.
What he
Others
means is
by
achievements.
completing specific activities, whether they be raiding or PvP oriented or more completionist things in the world as a whole. And within each of these
That would be
looks,
cool, Darker.
there's also
I'd be
a
down with
large
that.
number of color variants. So there's a tremendous total number of combinations for how you can have your artifact look. Now with Ashbringer, what we generally did, and what we've done with all of the artifacts, is you get the base weapon that looks like the sword you know and love that you've always seen in Tyrion Forgering's hand. It's the Ashbringer. Then there's sort of an evolved, upgraded version of it that once you reach a certain level of power with your weapon, you'll be able to unlock. But then we gave our artists the challenge of really just going off in exciting, new, different directions with these weapons, of trying to reimagine the fantasy of the sword. And that led us to things like an Ashbringer that's made out of pure fire, or a corrupted, shadowy Ashbringer, or one that is shattered
Show
and being
pictures.
held together
Show
by crackling
pictures.
lightning. All of these have the basic silhouette.
Oh, that would be
of what
cool,
we know,
Darker.
but they have a
Get the
very, very
gear
different
again
feel
from
ultimately,
MC.
And there'll be things for you to work towards and use as an expression of the character you want to play. So I know I've talked a lot about Ashbringer. Let's look at some other weapons. So if you're a Mistweaver monk, your adventure will begin by returning to Pandaria.
So yeah, they are
Seek out
inventing
the
new
staff
artifacts,
of Emperor
guys.
Cao Hao,
Don't think it's just
who's,
the old
integral
stuff.
to the very
They have to.
legacy
There's
essence
not,
of the
36
concept of
artifacts in
Pandaria.
the game.
So here on the far left, we see the base weapon that you'll initially acquire.
And this is a good example. This is the different
Then we've
graphics.
reimagined that staff
This is how wide they can
in
get,
the,
varied-wise.
with the inspiration drawn from the various animal gods of Pandaria, whether it's Yulan, the Jade Serpent, in the center, or Chi-Ji,
I
the
hope
Red
so,
Crane
Lucky
on the
Angelo.
far
I've been
right,
hoping for that kind of a
or
feature for a
Shang,
long
who's
time.
the Shock-corrupted staff, second from the right in between those two. Those are all things to work towards, and again, you can kind of pick the look that you want, pick the thing that excites you most to be what you show off. Ashbringer.
I like that far right one. Look at this one right here. This one, look at this lightning Ashbringer.
About
I
basic
want
art
this on my
and the
paladin.
work that our artists have done on these weapons. They just blow us away. So yeah, the base Ashbringer, the holy version.
So I hope
and
this
then
answers you guys'
fiery,
questions about
shadowy,
how
and
different
lightning.
they can look
Large variants,
graphics-wise.
They all have that essence that says this is Ashbringer. Next up, a new one to many people. So Faloma Lorn. This was actually a spell sword wielded by the mage Kael'thas. Kael'thas used this in his battle against the Lich King at Ice Crown Citadel, and the sword's lost there. So if you play a fire mage, you will begin
Most
the
likely,
expansion
Steiner.
by seeking out that blade. And when you take it up, you see the base version.
I
on the
agree,
left.
Deacon.
It is, a very Blood Elf origin fire spell blade, an evolved version. But then the fantasy goes in different directions from there if you want to customize it in a fell
Dude, this is
direction,
awesome,
or sort of a
JDP.
molten
This is
lava
blowing my
direction,
expectations out of the
or
water.
heavy Titan influence
I was
on the
expecting
far
a
right, that's
lackluster
very
expansion, to be blunt.
It's all up to you.
This does not sound like a lackluster expansion.
The Eagle Spear. So this is something that is new to the lore. It's heavily associated with the High Mountain Tauren. This is basically a fabled weapon of the Tauren tribe in High Mountain that you will seek out. You will track down the powerful creature that claimed the life of its last wielder, defeat that creature, and take this for yourself.
Yeah, mages
the
can wield
animal
swords,
inspirations
Titans.
for the spear,
Should,
you see,
even.
The base version is, sort of, themed after the eagle. Then in the center we have a wolf theme, a serpent, and a bear on the far right. This weapon will be something that survival hunters can see.
That's true, Darker. That's true.
So next up, Frost Death Knights. So these are the blades that you will
I like that
forge
second from the left one
shattered
over there.
shards of the greatest Death Knight weapon of all time, Frostmourne. The base version on the left, and then the initial upgraded version second from the left. Now for these weapons, we actually didn't go in such crazy different directions. We didn't do a fiery sword. I mean, they're all kind of, it's a question of what you like most as Death Knight. Do you like skulls, or frost, or more skulls, or different skulls? But they're all different variations on the essence, the fantasy of what being a Death Knight is. And when you think Runeblade, this is what comes to mind. That is what your artifact needs to mean to you. Doomhammer.
Damn it, I missed Doomhammer.
This weapon will be claimed by enhancement shamans. Enhancement shamans.
Enhancement
seek them out
shamans.
And pair this hammer
Oh,
with
I like
a pair
those.
in your offhand that is made of pure energy. So
Yeah,
that
I
you
like
can
that
wield
middle one a
properly.
lot. And the fire
the
one
base
here.
version, of course, the one we know and love that we've seen Thrall carrying around for so long. And then
Where's my
various
warrior stuff?
variants
I'm a
of it.
warrior
The
main.
fell version in the center, a fiery one to the right of that, and then a magical crystalline one on the far right. All the essence of Doomhammer, but different fantasies to explore. Let's see, what's up next? So, Feral Druids. So, Feral Druids can seek out the fangs of the first Nightsaber. And on the far left here, we see a Druid with the base initial artifact that just claimed it. He's like a level 100 Druid. He's been playing the expansion for an hour or two. In the middle, we see a druid with the upgraded fangs of the first Nightsaber. He's been playing for much longer, he's attained a more powerful artifact. On the far right side, we see a druid with spectral fangs of the Nightsaber, and it's a totally different look of the weapon. I mean, you can see how awesome the weapon is, right? Oh, right, yeah. I guess you can't really see the weapons on
Come on,
druids and
give
guardians.
some feral love.
That's a shame. I mean, being able to customize your weapons so much and then not being
That's
able
the
to show
point,
it off,
Deacon.
well, that's unfortunate.
He's...
Okay, just kidding.
Yeah, yeah! Finally, give some feral love.
So if you're a
Check
feral
this
druid,
out.
or if you're a
Finally.
guardian druid, instead of customizing the look of your artifact, you will customize the look of your form. So on the
That's
left,
awesome.
you see
We've been asking for that
a
since
druid with the base
forever.
fangs for the first Nightsaber. On the right, that's spectral variant. Now, of course, there's many different color variations on each of these, and more entirely different models that we just couldn't fit on this slide, but there'll be the same number of variants as every other class has. So that's something for, feral druids and guardian druids to look forward to.
Yeah.
Oh, and by the way, on the last slide, that was an updated high-res version of the base cat form, in case you were wondering.
Finally getting that into the new models for feral forms.
Okay, so that's some of what artifacts have in store for you. We're going to have a lot more to discuss, in the future, but that should kind of give you the gist of what they're all about. Now, class orders. So, as Alex mentioned, in the aftermath of the events at the Broken Shore, our world is in flames, and we are struggling to survive in the face of the Legion threat that will just overwhelm and destroy us all if we don't stop it. And the Alliance and Horde, they're just not going to be able to come together and work together in the ways that need to happen to overcome this threat. But instead, it's the classes that actually band together to do that. Whether it's ancient orders like the Silver Hands at Light's Hope Chapel, or the Mages of Dalaran, they're coming together, working together as a class to save the world.
Damn it, okay. Yeah, I'm tired of the Alliance versus Horde thing. Can we just stop that finally? The Legion's invading. We're kind of busy.
Who has just retrieved a fabled artifact of incomparable power. You are the wielder of Ashbringer. You are the
Now,
wielder
that being said, I like the idea of class stuff being back in. People have been asking for class quests for literally forever. More class quests. So I'm really, really hoping that that's how this is going to tie in.
To feel, if you're a warlock, to feel like a warlock, and for that to feel different than being a paladin, because they're about very different things. Even if their goals are the same at the end of the day, which is to defeat the Legion, they're going to go about it in very different ways. They're going to have very different allies. They're going to have very different powers to call upon in the process. So the order halls represent a base of operations for your class. They're kind of like a private clubhouse that you share with other members of your class. It's a shared space where you'll see other paladins running around or other shamans. It's not personal like the garrison, but it is a private space just for members of your class. The best analog is probably something like Acheris, the Death Knights are familiar with, the necropolis floating above the Plague Lands that is only accessible to Death Knights. So, and these will be in locations that are thematically appropriate, and one of the sort of...
As a huge fan of Acheris, this sounds pretty cool just on the baseline for me.
Going to be to found in,
especially if we get like a recall, just like the Death Knights do with Deathgate.
So shamans will be in a hollowed-out cave overlooking the Maelstrom, at a point where all of the elements come together, where lightning crackles in the sky overhead, and molten earth churns in the middle of a swirling whirlpool. Paladins are going to discover a hidden Templar sanctum beneath Light's Hope Chapel, where they will make their home. Now, warlocks really aren't comfortable unless there's, fellfire raining from the sky, demons all over the place. So the Warlock Order Hall is actually going to be on a Legion portal world, where only they can travel because that's what they do. That's what warlocks are. That's part of being a warlock. So this is a screenshot of the Paladin class order hall beneath Light's Hope. This was something that was shown briefly in the video, and every class is going to have their own unique space that they will return to with unique functions. This will be the place where you go to customize and upgrade your artifact. This will be the place where you have certain special quests and other missions available to you.
I am hopeful this doesn't become another garrison thing.
Class identity first and foremost.
And I'll talk about that later if you guys want me to. Remind me about the garrison thing too.
In your order hall, you're going to have champions of your class, of your order. Now, this is an evolution of the Draenor follower system. Whereas in Draenor, you were raising an army, right? You needed to defeat the Iron Horde, so you went out into the world and you were recruiting anyone that you could get your hands on, regardless of what race they were, regardless of what class they were. Anyone who wanted to help you fight the Iron Horde, you wanted their help. But numbers are not going to work against the Burning Legion. We can't defeat them through numbers alone. They are infinite. If we don't seal the portal at the Tomb of Sargeras, nothing will stop them. So your champions, if you're a paladin, or maybe minions if you're a warlock, or apprentices or adepts if you're a mage, these are far fewer in number, but far more important. Many of them may be established characters like Lady Liadrin, the Blood Elf Paladin, and they are going to have more customization, but more importantly, more integration with the world. Our idea, in terms of how we want to carry this system forward, is not to have your followers or your champions doing things instead of you, but to have them enabling you to do greater deeds and to go out into the world. So maybe they go on a scouting mission and discover a lair.
I'd be okay with that, Darker.
Or maybe you send them to a zone that then gives you bonuses when you are adventuring in that zone and completing objectives there. You'll work alongside them and with them rather than sort of having them compete with you in terms of the rewards that you're getting and that you're seeking out. We'll have a lot more to talk about regarding the system in the future, but I just wanted to kind of lay out some of our general philosophies for how we're thinking about it and how it's different from the garrisons and followers in Draenor. So, dungeons and raids. So I'm going to start with dungeons.
More dungeons. More dungeon love.
And before I go into any specifics, I want to just take a minute to stress that we feel like we've done dungeons a bit of a disservice. Dungeons are essential. They are at the heart of what makes the MMO experience.
Yeah. How much of the story of WoW is told in the dungeons?
Going in and cooperating with a small group of your friends to overcome a challenge. And we want to make sure that there are more dungeons in Legion than before, that there is more varied challenges, more replayability, and more of a long-term reason to keep doing dungeons throughout the expansion. We don't want dungeons to be something that you just do for a month at the start and then forget once you've started to do raids. That said, let's talk specifics. So first up, the Halls of Valor. As Alex mentioned, this is one of the level-up dungeons that is high up in the clouds over Stormheim. And this is sort of a look at the dungeon itself. This is sort of the look at the grand entrance. This is what you see when you first zone in. The Halls of Valor, very heavily inspired by Valhalla, right? The core Norse Viking fantasy. This is the place where the greatest warriors of the Vrykul are called to serve in the skies. And this is their eternal reward for being the greatest. Now, what brings you here is actually, over the course of Stormheim, as you are seeking out the Pillar of Creation from this zone that will help you seal up the Tomb of Sargeras, you are contending with the Legion cooperating leader of the Vrykul, the God King. And as you contend with him and race against him through the zone, both of your paths lead you to this place, which is the ultimate resting location of the Pillar, and you must prove yourself worthy in battle so that you may claim it and not him. Otherwise, we're all doomed. Also in this place, we're going to learn a lot more and witness more about the origin of the Valkyr. Now, these are not the undead, scourge-influenced Valkyr that you remember in Northrend. This is the more pure Valkyr, the Shield Maiden, the Warrior of the Light, that is as core a part of the fantasy as the Vrykul themselves.
Interesting. Valkyr that are not
Blackrook Hold.
constructed.
Blackrook Hold is going to be a max-level dungeon in the zone of Val-Shara. This was the ancestral home of Lord Ravencrest. And this is an elven structure unlike any elven structure you've ever seen before. It was a military fortress, a bulwark against the Legion, that was carved out of a single giant piece of stone, basically carved out.
I think past tense works better for that statement, Darker.
This impenetrable, unassailable fortress. But a dark shadow has fallen across this place now. So here we see a screenshot of this is sort of the interior main entry hall of Blackrook Hold.
I like that architecture.
I think next up, yeah, this is a side hallway. You can see some light streaming in from the windows. Players are going to begin essentially in the basement, in the underground catacombs beneath Blackrook Hold, and work their way from the outside all the way to the very top of the spire, where they will confront the true threat and the evil.
Given Khadgar's relevance to the setting, I would be amazed if Karazhan wasn't involved. We know he's overtaken Karazhan at this point. We know he's roosting there.
But again, it's not quite like any elven structure you may have seen before. Next, the Vault of the Wardens.
Woohoo!
So this is a place that will be very familiar to demon hunters. As a demon hunter, and Tom will tell you a bit about this in the next bit, this is where you awaken. This was the Warden maximum security facility. Wardens being, you know, those awesome...
We've been here before, by the way, in
figures
Frozen
like
Throne.
Maya that you
Or no,
meet
in
on
Warcraft 3,
Road
excuse me.
Crusade. This is where they have kept all of the greatest threats to the world. Demon hunters among them, but also countless other terrifying monsters. And this is the place where the events of that cinematic that you saw before the expansion announcement trailer happened, where Gul'dan found Illidan, where he was encased beneath.
Which
the vault.
Illidan?
Now, what was he up to? What is his plan? What is his purpose? We don't know, but it's a sure bet that it's nothing good. It's nothing that we want to have happen. And so we're going to begin investigating that mystery. We're going to begin hunting down Gul'dan and Illidan in this place. So here we see, this is one of the top levels of the Vault of the Wardens. We see some of the owl symbolism and that crescent half-moon shape that is their characteristic glaive that they wield. We see that prominently throughout this place. Very ornate, but also a place of great darkness and great evil. This is a lower level of the dungeon. You see cells lining the walls.
I don't mean this as a derogatory, but this whole place looks a lot like some of the levels of Karazhan once you get past, like, to the library.
So then, of course, we're going to have more dungeons. So let me talk quickly about some of those.
More dungeons.
So first off,
Violet Hold.
we're going to have a dungeon in Azuna where you contend with the minions of Queen Azshara, with the Naga, that have been thwarting your actions every step of the way through the zone. We figured Eye of Azshara would be a good name for it for some reason. I'm not sure. Next up, Darkheart Thicket. This is in Val'Sharah. This is at the foot, at the base of the World Tree Saladrisil that towers over the zone as a whole. This is the heart of the nightmare corruption that is infesting and spreading through the zone and which will eventually overtake our world if we don't stop it. So you are cutting your way through dark thickets and brambles into a chamber at the base of the tree itself, where you need to rescue Malfurion himself from the corruption and the clutches of the nightmare. Another dungeon is going to be Neltharion's Lair. Neltharion's Lair, as Alex mentioned, is in High Mountain.
Near as I could tell, this is the actual
timeline.
timeline.
Where
Yeah.
thousands of years ago, the Earth Warder, the Black Dragon Neltharion lived.
Yeah, isn't that right, Liberated? Because everyone was like, oh, it's going to be Eye of Azshara, it's the leak.
The most giant of all the dragons. And the space that he's hollowed out reflects that. Since those times, this has become the center of the Drogbar society. These are the sort of rocky, fierce, brutal warriors of High Mountain. And we need to venture into their capital in order to recover the Pillar of Creation wielded by their chieftain. Helheim. Helheim, well, it's sort of in Stormheim, but it's not precisely in Stormheim. This is kind of the polar opposite of the Halls of Valor. Whereas the greatest warriors of the Vrypool ascend to the Halls of Valor, the cursed spirits get on the ship, Niflvar, that leads them to Helheim, where they are cursed for all eternity as Kvaldir. Now, if you like the Grimrail Depot dungeon in Warlords, if you like the idea of riding a train, well, I think you're going to like this one. This is the Ghost Ship of the Damned, and most of the dungeon takes place on this ship, sailing through stormy seas in an immersive environment that's quite unlike anything we've ever seen in a dungeon in WoW before.
As an aside, I love the train dungeon. It's one of my favorite dungeons to redo in Warlords.
Next, Suramar City. This is the City of Night, where the Nightborn rule from their palace, but the city itself contains both catacombs beneath it and noble houses throughout the city, into which we will have to venture in order to uncover the ties to the Legion and the ultimate plan that is unfolding here. And, well, Violet Hold. So Dalaran, of course, is coming with us to the Broken Isles, and that means Violet Hold is coming with it. Now, it turns out there were some mysteries and deep secrets hidden within this place that we never uncovered the first time we were here. And bringing the city in proximity to the Tomb of Sargeras, once it comes to the Broken Isles, it awakens new secrets, new powers, new mysteries in this prison that we have to delve into, explore, and uncover. And we're going to learn a lot more about the origins of Dalaran, the origins of the mages of Dalaran, and actually the origins of the world itself.
Okay, so that doesn't sound like a wave dungeons, so I'm okay with that.
So, for raids, we're actually pretty happy with how the overall structure in Warlords of Draenor played out. We had, a high mall initially with 7 bosses that opened up a few weeks after the release of the expansion, and then sometime after that, Blackrock Foundry with 10 bosses. So we're keeping that overall structure. We think that's a good amount of raid content, and that's kind of what we're aiming for, and that's what we want to deliver in Legion. So the first raid, this is going to be the Emerald Nightmare itself. We have heard from players as long as we can remember, since really the first days of World of Warcraft, that they wanted to see the Emerald Dream. You fought those green dragons that came out of the portals, the 4 green dragons in early WoW, and you just wanted to go through those portals to see what was on the other side, right?
Lots of people tried to go through those portals back in Vanilla too, thinking they'd lead somewhere.
The Emerald Dream was created by the Titans as a blueprint for Azeroth itself. It was the perfect, untarnished, unspoiled version of our world, verdant and green and full of life. But something has gone horribly wrong here, and the Emerald Dream has descended into corruption, into nightmare, and that threatens to spread into our world and engulf it. So, whereas in the dungeon, we descend into the roots of the tree, for the raid, we're initially actually going to climb up into the tree itself and actually cross through the barrier that separates our reality from the reality of the dream. We will go in, root out corruption, seek out scenarios, and ultimately confront Xavius himself at the heart of the nightmare in this ultimate conflict that will end the corruption of the Emerald Dream. Our next raid, Suramar Palace. So this is the palace of the city of Suramar, where the Grand Magistrix, who has brokered this dark deal with the Legion, looks over everything and runs the city. The Legion has come here for a dark purpose, and they have used and corrupted
the first Satyr, darker.
Of creation to shape their society, to create this Nightwell, a conduit of dark energy that is the center of Suramar's power. So this is a 10-boss raid, very traditional, somewhat reminiscent of Black Temple in terms of its layout and structure. You begin in an underground catacomb, essentially a back entry because you can't go through the front gate, work your way up to sort of outdoor balconies, royal quarters, and eventually to the heart of the Nightwell itself. We will confront both the Grand Magistrix and Gul'dan, who has come here as an ambassador of the Legion. We've been chasing Gul'dan for a long time, since really the beginning of Warlords of Draenor, when we made that fateful mistake of clicking on him and setting him free to begin our Warlords experience. But finally, he's cornered, he's not going to be able to run after this. Gul'dan is the ultimate boss of Suramar Palace Raid.
Awesome.
Now, I just wanted to show you a concept of what the palace itself is going to look like. And now I know if you really love orcs and spikes and fire and fel, this might disappoint you. I know you might have been hoping for yet another raid since you heard Gul'dan. Okay, it's going to be a green orc raid, right? No. This is the Royal Elven City, the Palace of Suramar. They are an elevated, elegant, magical race, magical civilization, and their architecture reflects that. So this is going to be a very different type of look for a raid than we've seen in the recent past, and I can't wait to have you explore it. Can't wait until you can see it for yourselves. So without further ado, let's hear more about the thing you
really
want to hear
quick,
about.
before he goes on, I want to say it's clear they've been listening to at least some of the feedback, because they're deliberately going the opposite direction of some of the complaints. For example, you notice how there's like no orcs in this that's even been mentioned so far?
Yeah. Let's talk first about character creation. Obviously, character creation is a huge part of building your character and really getting into it, getting a sense for what the character is. So we have a slew of different options for you that are really unique to the Demon Hunter, so that you can really feel like it's properly, expressing the class. So here's a lineup of a variety of different options that we'll have for you. As you can see, one of the kind of features that first jumps out and grabs your eyes is the horns. The Demon Hunters have the ability to have horns, a number of different horn styles, horn types, horn sizes. We'll even have the option to have no horns at all if there's something mentally wrong with you. Of course,
I'm suddenly reminded of Miraluka.
We have the tattoos that you see. A lot of Demon Hunter class-specific armor really kind of exposes those muscles so you can show off your awesome tats. Different types of tattoos, different shapes, different colors, all sorts of good times there. We have skin variations, some of them scaly and demonic, others normal. And then finally, we also have the different types of eyewear. So you can have the traditional Illidan-style eyewear, or you can have a veil, or some other different kinds of looks. So, taking a look at all that and really kind of getting a sense for what that is, let's look at what that looks like on the actual character creation screen.
Ooh. Is that a Tauren?
All right, so right at the end there, you got to get a little glimpse into what it looks like to be a metamorphosized demon hunter.
Aww.
So let's take a look at what
I
that
hope this
is.
isn't restricted to
Let's
elf.
explore more what the entire demon hunter experience is. And so the demon hunter, as you might have seen in the video, is a hero class. And to us, what that means is they have a very unique starting experience, a lot the same way that the Death Knight did in Wrath of the Lich King. So the demon hunter will both have that unique kind of experience and also start at a very high level so that you can immediately flow into
Death Knights is what he's saying.
not have to go through
Same thing.
older content to do that. So the demon hunter awoken. Demon hunter first comes into our storyline after having been awoken in the Vault of the Wardens. The Wardens, desperate because of the Legion invasions, have thrown the switch to awaken the demon hunters, desperate for their help because when you're going to fight the Legion, demon hunters might come in handy. It's kind of part of the name, like Alex said. But before you do that, you'll actually get to take part in the events that take place 10 years back in time at the Black Temple. When
See, this is what I mean.
members
It's basically a
of the Guard are
flashback.
sent off by
You're not actually going
on a
through time.
crucial mission to the world of Mardoon. And so you get to see that.
And we're kind of retconning the
right
stupidity
here.
of the Illidan stuff
Take a
back
look
in
at a video
BC.
that shows that. So that's a little glimpse of what our world would look like, Azeroth, if we fail in our mission to stop the Legion. Don't want that. Otherwise, might as well all be warlocks. All right, so next up, we want to talk a little bit about specs and skills. So the Demon Hunter obviously is going to have specs like other classes will. And those specs that we're going to be talking about are Havoc and Vengeance. Havoc is the DPS spec, Vengeance being a tanking spec. So for the Demon Hunters, we're actually going to be doing two specs. The reason for that is, as we thought about, Demon Hunters and what they
Two
may be,
specs,
the
huh?
fantasy of a Demon Hunter is, clearly
I like this.
DPS comes to mind. I mean,
I'll explain why I like
we'd be
this in a
remiss
moment.
If we didn't include DPS.
That's like 3 things I need to
That's kind
explain
of
now.
An automatic. We also thought it'd be really cool because metamorphosis is a big part of being a Demon Hunter, and we have these awesome metamorphosized
You did, Darker.
metamorphosized
You did.
forms that'd be great to be a tank. That could be a really fun experience that makes sense with being a Demon Hunter also. Demon Hunter healer though, not so much. A little bit weird for us, so we felt like that was kind of out of the picture. So at that point, the question becomes, do we do 2 Demon Hunter DPS specs, or do we do 2 tanking specs? And as we really started to flesh out what the ideas for those specs might be,
I do too,
it
Knight.
felt like it was just kind of watering down the identity of the class.
Because Demon Hunter should be like a
Instead, we wanted to
quick-hitting,
concentrate the
assassin-y
focus
kind of a
and
character in
really
my opinion
focus
for
on
DPS. Always has
one
been.
spec,
But the
one
tank
DPS,
should be just this
and one
monstrous,
tanking spec.
demonic,
So we feel like that's
meat
really
wall.
the right
So
thing
I like
for
both of
everybody
those
to
visually.
focus. So here's a couple of different abilities that are unique to Demon Hunters, of course. The first one we have here is Fell Rush, where you can rush forward, dealing a bunch of damage to anybody in your path. Generates Fury, also Demonic Fury. That's your resource.
I am
as you
hoping
use
we'll
some
find out
abilities, they
Darker
build up
during the
Demonic
tutorial
Fury,
instance when
and
we're on
abilities cost
Mardoom.
Fury.
I'm hoping. We'll
Fell Rush
see.
also has
They
the
might just hand wave it.
characteristic of having multiple charges, so you can charge multiple times in battle. We have Chaos Strike, which is a pretty basic Demonic Fury spender to do a bunch of damage, everybody in front of you. Chaos Nova, that does area effect damage and also stuns people in a radius.
Yeah, agreed, oh man.
On a cooldown. You can also use a ranged ability called Eye Beam. Use those cool little eyewear that you have to focus those beams. Zap a bunch of enemies at range. Spectral Sight, that's something that's very unique to Demon Hunters and really kind of a defining trait of Demon Hunters. The ability there is when you turn on Spectral Sight, and that's kind of part of why you pulled your eyes out to be a Demon Hunter, is that it gives you the ability to see through walls. So you can see your enemies through through the walls. Come in really handy in a lot of battlegrounds. In addition, Vengeful Retreat, another movement ability that helps keep Demon Hunters really mobile. But of course, if a Demon Hunter is going to retreat, he's going to do it vengefully. So
Of course they
first
will,
I've got
Darker.
a couple little videos to show you what some of these abilities look like. The first one you're going to see is Fell Rush, just very simple kind of dash forward. So let's look at that. There you go. Used multiple times in succession, right away, boom, boom. Wants to travel, wants to go through and deal damage. Next up, we have the I-beam ability. Give you a little sense of what that looks like. Zap. And then finally, we have an ability that's also unique to Demon Hunters to talk about that I haven't mentioned yet. That ability is something that we call double jump. So as a Demon Hunter, you're actually going to be able to jump, and then as you're in the air, jump again. Because you're more agile, you're quicker than other races or classes, and it's really cool and handy to be able to get over obstacles that no other class can actually get over. So let's take a look at what that looks like. Oh yeah, double jump. So next up, we have a little video that has a couple of these different combat abilities mixed together to give you a little bit more of a sense of what Demon Hunter combat looks and feels like. Good time.
I will explain exactly why double jump is so useful. Because it looks cool.
All right, so hopefully you guys are excited to play Demon Hunters as we are. I know around the office we're all kind of crazy in the head about it, so it's going to be a lot of fun. Next up, I want to talk about the new PvP honor system. Now,
This I'm really curious what they're doing.
We're doing an entirely new PvP honor system.
They've revamped honor several times in the past, by the way.
And so to set a little bit of context for that, I want to talk a little bit about the evolution of the honor system over time and set the foundation for why it is that we're going to do what we're doing. So let's look back to version 1. So I had the great honor and opportunity to be able to do a lot of the design work on the original honor system. And at the time when we first launched it, early in World of Warcraft's lifetime, it was really intended to be something that gave players that wanted PvP something to get excited about and be able to progress in. But it had a couple of critical flaws that led to it being phased out in Burning Crusade. I don't know how many of you played back in the day, the original honor system. Yeah.
I got up to
But,
Knight Commander
it was pretty
in
cool
vanilla.
for a while,
and I hated it.
That's because anytime you killed enemy players, you did battlegrounds, captured objectives, that sort of thing, you would gain honor. And at the end of the week, we would tally up all the honor that each player got, and then we would rank them based on how much the honor they got compared to each other, which is fine and dandy in theory. The problem is, you guys are willing to spend an incredible amount of time every single day farming honor, making it impossible.
Oh, it was
for a lot
terrible.
of people to keep
I
up.
absolutely hated the original
We
honor
had
system.
players that weren't even playing their
I
own characters, having their guildmates log in
absolutely
their characters
hated
so they
it.
could be the #1 honor character that week. Literally 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, that character had to be in battlegrounds, fighting to retain their rank. And the moment they stopped, even after becoming a high warlord or grand marshal, they started losing their ranks. So that was a little bit too brutal.
The losing the ranks was a really
So in
bad
Burning
idea.
Crusade, we moved to a system that was a lot simpler. It's also, carried us for a long time from Burning Crusade all the way to Warlords. That system is essentially a currency system, right? You kill enemy players, you get honor from battleground objectives, etc., and you get currency. You then buy stuff with it, buy PvP gear. It introduced the concept of PvP gear. And this kind of gave us one little tuning point for PvP. It meant that we could do set bonuses that would alter your character a little bit, but ultimately it was still essentially the same character that you're playing in PvE. And that had a lot of limitations, and it's kind of it's gotten aged. We feel like it's really time to update it and address some of those core issues. For example, we've gotten a lot of feedback that gear has way too much to do with PvP. And so we really want to dial back the effect that gear has. For example, if you look at a character here on the left, you're going to see a character that has the introductory honor gear, and you know their base item level in this case is only 620. You have a character on the right that has the fully maxed out conquest gear, and their item level at 700 makes them 80% more powerful, almost twice as powerful, even when you factor in both of them getting scaled up for PvP. Almost twice as powerful as the other player, and that doesn't really feel right in PvP. It's just not that fun to have players running around with that huge of a power disparity. So we felt like we needed a new system that addresses that and really kind of makes sure that while gear can play a role, it plays almost no role in terms of how powerful you are. So that brings us to Honor System version 3. Starts in World of Warcraft Legion, goes on forever. I'm sure we'll never do a version 4. That would be ridiculous. So here's a look at what that is. And essentially what that is a PvP talent system. So as you gain honor, you'll actually progress through honor ranks, from honor rank 1 to honor rank 50. And as you progress through those ranks, you earn a number of different perks and bonuses, and the most important ones being these PvP talents that you unlock. These PvP talents are designed completely for PvP. They give us the opportunity that our PvP team has actually been asking for me for a long time to be able to balance PvP more independently of PvE, because these abilities will only work in places like battlegrounds and arenas. So as you progress through the honor talent tree, you'll unlock the abilities, starting actually top to bottom. So you can very quickly get up to the maximum power that your character can possibly have in terms of just sheer number of abilities and effects and passives, etc. And as you progress through that tree, you'll then go on and start unlocking the next row. And that gives you some more options to play with on your character. You might, prefer mind quickness, versus, the train of thought talent, for example. And then finally, you unlock it all at level 50. And so, really that brings us to this idea that we want to take a look at what some of these, PvP talents could be. Some examples here. Obviously, only a few examples, and obviously there's going to be a lot of balancing and tuning and tweaking of these PvP.
I'm going to mute him for just a second to explain something that I just said in chat, but obviously our viewers at home can't see chat on YouTube. I was talking about this literally just 3 or 4 days ago when we were coming home from Gen Con about how I would revamp PvP, because there's 2 big points for me when it comes to PvP. 3, actually, big points when it comes to PvP. First of all, PvP should be completely separate from PvE. I use Guild Wars 1. I use Guild Wars 1 as my penultimate example of this. In other words, in Guild Wars 1, abilities literally function differently in PvP versus PvE. This enables them to nerf and buff one without affecting the other. That's segregation. I've been clamoring for that literally since vanilla. Point 2, PvP talents, which is funny because I just mentioned that with regards to what Zigoten just said that in chat. Of course, you guys can't see this. PvP talents is something I've been pushing because that gives you customization specifically to show a specific type of PvP playstyle. That has nothing to do with gear or anything, which brings me to point 3, the removal of gear from the PvP equation, flattening out your item level. They have the ability now to literally determine through math, through the item level budget, a exact amount of stats that would make each class relatively equal to the other. Each spec, right? And this is a thing that can happen. Now, they have the experience and they have the tech now to do that. So you go into PvP thing and shunk, you're actually into this band of this exact balance of power, and then it is your talents that vary your playstyle. So you're not all clones of each other, but your relative power is the same. Now that does still mean they have to balance other things like the PvP skills and the PvP talents, but removing the gear equation just gets rid of a huge problem in PvP. There is a colossal barrier to entry when it comes to PvPing, and it has been for years. And on top of that, there's also the idea that, as Darker just pointed out, certain classes and certain specs were just plain better, especially if they had the gear backing them up. I myself was actually a holy paladin back in vanilla when I was PvPing, and you just couldn't bring me down unless you were certain specs, like certain guys could bring me down. But I was just sitting there like, yep, nope, you know. But the point of the removal of the gear is that it removes the disparity, Rasker. Oh, he's talking about something new.
That we've seen in other games, obviously like Call of Duty. And the concept here is that if you want to, you can essentially reset your honor level and go through it again. And the reason to do this would be for cosmetic rewards entirely. So if you're the type of person that just wants to be as powerful as possible with all the different PvP options, gameplay options available, you get to honor level 50, you're done, call it a day, have fun, kill a bunch of enemies, upgrade your gear slightly, and have a good time. But if you're the kind of person that really likes the prestige type of rewards, the cosmetic things, then you hit the prestige button, get the little warning dialogue that'll set you back to level 1 of honor rank, and then you go on your way to earning some cosmetic stuff. So for example, you can earn portrait badges to show how many times
Diablo 3 idea here.
Prestige. So you can see here on the different portraits, you have an escalating badge that gets more and more impressive. This is where we can have things like unique mounts. So in this example, it's one of the black war horses that we'll have. That'll be the only way you can get it is to go through the prestige process. And then finally, probably the coolest prestige item that you can possibly get through the honor system, through prestiging, are these unique PvP artifact variants. So
Yeah, I saw this. Cosmetic gear for resetting.
The only way to do it.
And I like that idea too. I like the idea of the optional prestige thing purely for cosmetic stuff. I've always hugely been in favor of cosmetic options.
Look at a few more. So a lot of those that, those specific looks that Ian was pointing out, we're going to reserve one for PvP exclusively. They're probably very dark and shady versions of them like that. And so that really summarizes what we're talking about for Honor version 3, and hope that, to us, it's really exciting for us because it feels like the most significant change we made to PvP in a long time, and hope that you guys are as excited about it as we are. So with that, we conclude our PowerPoint presentation explaining more about the content and features. I want to thank everybody that's been here. Obviously, this has been a lot of stuff to digest.
Watch the video, not there's him. Watch my live reaction when they announced it. You'll see. And woo! I admit it.
And also everybody that's viewing the live stream worldwide right now. Thank you guys.
I'm trying really hard not to be, not to get my expectations up. But in the interest of honesty, I'm hyped.
We're going to be on the live stream on Sunday, where we're going to be answering a number of different questions. Obviously, there are going to be a lot of questions from the community over the next couple of days. We're going to be keeping our ears opening, listening for questions, and answering as many of them as we reasonably can during the live stream on Sunday. So stay tuned for that. And finally, hope to see you all in the beta later this year. So, thank you
so much, Tom, Ian, and Alex from the World of Warcraft development team. You really shed a lot of light on that expansion for us, and yeah, that even got me more hyped than before, so thank you so much for all those details. We really saw some amazing things to look forward to, and once more, of course, in the name of everyone here, thanks a lot for coming. The guys will be on the live stream, blissgc.com. This is where you can find us from tomorrow onwards. Every evening, we're going to have guests such as the lovely guys here who are talking about their games, and we're going to show what's been happening during the day at at Gamescom. So make sure to tune in for all of that. I thank everyone for watching on stream as well at home. So we hope to see you tomorrow. Thank you.
Woo! All right, I'm gonna get rid of that audio in the background. I'm gonna leave this up just in case they do something else. Yeah, that's definitely a marketing lady. All right, I had 3 things to talk about. Does anyone remember what they were? I want to respond to Rascor's thing though really quick. The difference is a matter of variance band, Rascor. Right now, because of the way the gear works, it's not like you just have better gear. You have better gear in these 3 slots, or you have better gear in these 5 slots, or this gear is geared toward this, or this gear is geared toward that. The variance between someone who is under-geared and someone who is well-geared is like this, right, Rascor? Now, if we squish that to the point where you have that honor, the 50 points of honor, the honor talents, there's still a variance. You're absolutely right. But instead of being this huge, unsurmountable thing, which is literally impossible to balance, they have never balanced PvP in the last 11 years because of this. Now, it's more like this. It's something we can actually deal with, right? Because this is a lot easier of a range to deal with. And this means while there is still a barrier of entry, it's not as bad as this. You see the difference here? Now, what was I going to talk about? Why they're not doing this at BlizzCon is a good thing. Now, this is... I actually predicted this over a month ago. It's like this. As soon as the last... the patch just went live, the one that was... the one with the final raid, the one with Tanan Jungle and all that. That one was the end of Warlords. And as soon as I saw that, I was like, okay, we have 3 possibilities here. Possibility 1. They're really, really, really falling behind on production, and we're going to have another birth of doom, which is bad, by the way. Undead, you're not blacklisted. You're awesome. You know that. Here, let's get chat back up here now that you're not interfering with everything. That's bad, okay? That's really bad. For those of you who were not playing actively at the end of Pandaria like I was, let me explain it to you this way. The final patch of Pandaria came out. You know, we had the Timeless Isle, which was garbage. We had the final raid. I actually liked Siege of Orgrimmar. It was a good raid. But that's it, right? We had those 2. And then we had this ridiculously long period of time with no content updates. It is argued that that's what killed WoW's subs. That huge, it was over a year, gigantic period of time with no new content because they were falling so far behind. So with Warlords done, as of, I guess, a month and a half, 2 months ago, however long it's been now, if they have another girth, that's the end of WoW. We've already had a huge hit, and Warlords already had the problems I already mentioned earlier. So that huge girth of no content was going to be a killer. So they need to get new content out there now. So this, I'm not even going to go over the rest of the possibilities because it's obvious the point here. They cannot wait until BlizzCon to announce it. BlizzCon's too late. BlizzCon's not until October or November. I forget which, but it's late in the year, right? So those 2 need to be... So that would be too long of a wait. Going from, I guess, July to that with no news and no content updates, they can't do that. They need to be pushing these content updates for the reasons I already mentioned. Like, for example, I mentioned earlier, the end game progression has been so well refined that people can just blaze through content now. They need more content, and they need it fast. And so that's why they need to do this announcement now rather than wait till BlizzCon. I didn't even realize they were going to be at Gamescom until last week when someone told me about it. But I was predicting, again, as of like over a month ago, they're going to do an announcement basically now saying, and here's the next expansion, because they have to. They have to if they're going to keep WoW viable. And the only way to make that work is if they have a huge team working on WoW. Now, the good news is they do have a huge team working on WoW. The amount of developers pushing WoW right now is gargantuan. And it's bigger than it's ever been before, and that's a good thing. I'll talk a little bit about why that was such an issue back in the day when I go through the lore run, because they had a really, really small development team during Vanilla and BC, and it really hindered them. I'm going to look at Ashia's question here. Personally, hey kiddo. Personally, as a developer, I understand that there is no optimal answer for releasing content, especially when it comes to endgame raid content, because you basically there's 2 sides of the argument. There's making the content last, and then there's making the content accessible. And trying to find a middle ground here is literally impossible. So you either release all the content, people blaze through it, and then they're bored because they have nothing to do, or you time gate it and people are irritated because they can't do the content literally because you put an artificial gate in their way. There is no good answer between these 2 extremes. There has never been a good answer between these 2 extremes. And you know why? Because it's not physically possible to produce good content in that period of time. That's not how it works. I've talked about this before. That's not how MMO development works. You can't just say, okay, we're going to make a raid every few months and that way people will be satisfied. That there's no third option here, right? So, with that being said, I do, in general, prefer the time gate option, mainly because of experience and the fact that it does kind of, as long as you don't time gate it too badly. It's like a week or 2. What they did with Sunwell was actually pretty good, in my opinion. The idea of, okay, here's this, and you do the dailies and you earn up to the next one, and then there's this one, and then you do the dailies and you earn up to this one, and that's this one. That kind of a thing. They've done other time gates. Okay, so that's that question. What was the second thing I was going to talk about? because I had 3 things to talk about. I talked about why not at BlizzCon. I answered Ashia's question. I had 2 other things to talk about. Help me, guys, chat. Help me. I don't remember. I was going to make a note, and I don't have paper on me. My notes are over there. Weapon talents. Well, I actually already mentioned that. There's not much to say there, because I already said it. Oh, and the 2 specs. Okay, so let's talk about weapon talents really quick. There's not really much to say there. The weapon talents is a perfect in-between option. That way they can have their cake and eat it too. Because the idea here is, I like the new talents. I do. I like the talents they did in Pandaria. They are more meaningful choices. There's less of them, and there's less customization, but the challenge choices are meaningful, and some of them actually work. Like some of them, the idea here is the design goal is on a given band, these 3 talents should be equally useful generally. For certain options, obviously it's going to be, one's going to be better than the other. Most raiders actually switch talents on the fly based on which boss they're fighting. But that's still the point. The idea that you can pick which one of these 3 and choose how you want to play is good, is the design thing, and I have a crying baby. What's up, Jada? What did you do? What did you do, kiddo? What's wrong? What's wrong? What'd you hear? What hurts? Oh my god, what did you do? What did you do? What did you do? Did you bite?
No.
What did you do, Jaina? I need to know.
I bite.
Okay, you bit down? Okay. Now that's gonna hurt for a little bit. I'm gonna get you some medicine, okay? Mama's off at an interview. It's okay. I got you. Now we're gonna go and we're gonna talk about stuff. You ready?
No.
It's okay. It's okay, little one.
I don't want to cry.
It's okay. It's okay, baby girl. Now, it's okay. I'm right here. I'm right here. There's nothing to see there, see? I'm just gonna talk. I'm on the stream. It's okay. It's okay. It's okay. What the hell were we talking about? So I like the new talent choices because the idea is all 3 talents should be equally useful. It's kind of the same design choice they went with Diablo 3. I like that, but the problem with it is you have less customization. You have less options to actually have a fundamentally different character from the way it used to work, right? Because there were weird builds back in the original system. The weapon talents allow you to have that customization and the meaningful talent system both at the same time. And that's why it's a good system, and that's why I'm in favor of that. It's okay, baby girl. Here, let's get rid of that. Let's get a background going. Should we get a background going?
Mm-hmm.
How about some forest? Does that sound good?
Yeah.
Okay. We'll do that then.
Are we going out, son?
Well, not going out to the sun yet. See? Sun's just hanging out there. Do you see it?
Yeah.
It's just doing its thing. All right, what else do I need to talk about? I've kind of been distracted. That's the idea, Dakota,
I
yeah.
do some background.
Well, that's just sitting there. It's just sitting there.
Go back to background.
We'll go there later. How's that sound? Does that sound fun? Does that sound fun?
No.
Class halls. The inclusion of more class-specific stuff is something a lot of people have been pushing for a very long time, including myself. So I really like the idea of that. I don't know how it's going to come out. The cynic in me wants to say it's just going to be Garrisons 2.0. The optimist in me says it's going to be a way to actually advance class storylines as the class. It's going to give you a meaningful purpose to reroll and to go through his alts and stuff, and that would be awesome. Thanks, Sterlings. Is this a bad time to get into WoW? No, actually. This is probably the best time to get into WoW it's been for a while.
Who's going out in space?
No one's going out into space yet, but later we're going to go way out into space.
But they're going out in space by themselves.
That's right. They're flying out there all on their own. But they'll be fine when they get back. I don't think Illidan is the perfect villain for the next expansion. I think Illidan is the perfect ally of the next expansion. Artifacts. Artifacts. I kind of already talked about artifacts, but to summarize what I said earlier, ever since Pandaria... Shh, it's okay. It's okay. It's okay, baby girl. You can cry if you want to. Just be quiet. Can you be quiet?
No.
Okay. It's okay.
It's that one drop.
Okay. We are the main characters of WoW as of this point. Ever since Pandaria, we have officially become stronger than the old guard. The old guard of heroes have done their thing. Arthas is gone. Thrall has completed his arc. Sylvanas has switched into an enemy. You know, Cairn is gone. Jaina has shifted into a leadership position, etc. We have lost all the old heroes. They have moved on to their next story arc. A lot of them have turned into leaders. Some of them have turned into, have retired for all intents and purposes. We are the new heroes, the player characters. This has been something that's been hinted at since Wrath. Remember, the whole point of the Wrath story arc, forgive me for spoiling the entire expansion story arc, is we were the strongest fighting force in the entire world. And that's exactly what the Lich King wanted, right? And ironically what Arthas also wanted, but I don't want to get too much into that here. That's where that really started, but as of Pandaria, it became really, really obvious that we were now taking the foreground, becoming the main characters. We did a lot of stuff where the story focus was much more on us than us helping others, right? And this is a good thing because it's been a gradual shift. Early on, we were being escorted around by the heroes. Now, we're escorting the heroes around. And yeah, in Warlords, now we are actually commanders. We are landed, as I like to call it. We are officially in charge of our given factions. So the idea of us getting these amazing artifacts and then turning them into our own, which is even better than I originally thought, makes perfect sense. Us wielding Doomhammer, us wielding Ashbringer. In an MMO sense, it is going to result in the situation where 50 people are walking around with Ashbringer or Frostborn. But from a story perspective, it does make perfect sense that we, the player characters, would at this point be the ones wielding our version of Ashbringer, our version of Frostmourne. We have taken this artifact, claimed it, made it our own, and turned it into suiting our own purposes. And I like that idea a lot. Hey, girl. Hey. Yeah, Raskar, I know what you're talking about. That's going to be a cool quest to show off on the stream. So that's my thoughts on artifacts. Again, all of this is assuming they actually follow through and do all this stuff when the actual game comes out. So, grain of salt here. What was the other thing? There was like one last thing I wanted to talk about. We don't know which Illidan is, although again...
Did your finger bend?
Yes, it is injured. There's an injury on it. Ooh, can you make it feel better, please? Thank you.
Did it bend
See you around,
for a
Undead.
while?
Yes, little one.
Is it doing right?
It will. You healed it, so it'll be getting better now. You made it feel better.
What's on the other side? Is Is there a boo-boo on the other side?
Yes, there is. Can you fix it? Thank you. Alternate good. Okay, so alternate Gul'dan sitting motion stuff in our timeline. Allow me to be blunt and say that's probably the best usage of the alternate timeline thing that the alternate timeline thing was. The biggest complaint for lore hounds like me, people who are really into the story of Warcraft, was the alternate timeline basically didn't matter. I mean, it was fun. It was. There were some really cool storylines there, but for the overall arc of all of Warcraft, it didn't mean anything. It was irrelevant. It was just something where we went off to be fun. Now, there are some setting purposes that it had significance for, and I'll talk about those during the lore run. But Gul'dan, escaping from there, getting back here, if you'll remember, my big thing was I said that the way we could use the alternate timeline to be relevant for the overall Warcraft story was to bring alternate Illidan in. But alternate Gul'dan actually works for that even better. Some people don't really know this or are aware of this, but Gul'dan was one of the strongest individuals, regardless of race, in the entire setting. And until Warlords, we basically never saw him on camera. He basically saw... I have a shirt on. It's right here. We had... Oh, for her. We never really saw Gul'dan on camera. Almost everything we knew about him was either after the fact or in, like, mission briefings or that kind of thing. Here, let's wipe you up a bit, kiddo. And so Warlords was showing him on camera and showing what he could really do. And then, of course, he gets out, which makes perfect sense. Because now, again, the alternate timeline matters. Now, alternate Gul'dan...
Oh, you missed.
It's okay. We'll put it away later, okay? Alternate Gul'dan has now...
Trash can.
Okay, you go ahead. Alternate Gul'dan has now set into motion the next series of events, right? Okay, you can come back. That's kind of my point, Netherhunter. That's kind of my point. Gul'dan is gone, and even when he wasn't dead, back in Warcraft 1 and Warcraft 2, he was more of a behind-the-scenes kind of a guy. So, his usage for this makes perfect sense, and his going after Illidan, well, that actually makes perfect sense, too. Because if you think about it, Gul'dan would assume someone who ripped out his eyes to swear a pact of servitude to Sargeras is probably going to be an ally. It would never occur to alternate Gul'dan that Illidan wouldn't be an ally. I don't think Illidan is going to be our enemy in this expansion. I think he's going to be on our side, just like the Demon Hunters are. Because Illidan has been through hell and back more than once, and is more than experienced in just how bad the Legion really is. And he has his own aims, which really have nothing to do with the Legion. The only reason he was stupid evil in BC was because of a writer screw-up. You don't want to get down? Okay, here you go. The only reason he was like, I am evil and demonic, is because of literally because of a writer screw-up. And so, we have the fully powered Illidan, at least I'm assuming. I really should say that, because I don't know if it's our Illidan or their Illidan. But we have this super-powered Illidan who is the exact kind of person that Gul'dan would be like, aha! We'll see how that actually turns out, because you'll notice they said very little about Illidan himself during this thing. Just the fact that Illidan is there, one of them, and that's going to be tied into the Demon Hunter storyline. That's all we know. So, Gul'dan is in fact a warlock. There's a lot of lore about why warlocks are stronger than other races, and I'll talk about this more during the actual lore run, but to mention it briefly, Jaina, don't throw it at me, okay? Thank you. Yeah, BC Illidan was just stupid. But it was literally a writing mistake. I'll talk about that later. We didn't actually see Illidan that much on Dit, so we're really not sure. Anyways, Warlock, there's a short story that's actually about the ogres and the Ogren Empire in Warlords, which in my opinion really, really emphasizes how strong Warlock magic is in lore when you really go full tilt with it. And you might be like, well, that doesn't make sense. Warlocks then should be stronger than other classes. No, because we're not going full tilt with it. The Warlocks we are playing as are actually holding back, trying not to become firmly corrupted, trying not to actually turn into demonic puppets. If we did, we would be stronger. But we're actively trying to resist. I just realized the chat's are. We're actually trying to resist that, right? That's why we're weaker. But when you're a Warlock who goes full tilt, in this storyline, they bring in a couple of people in rags, no gear, haggard appearance, starving, skin kind of hanging off their bones kind of a situation, versus some of the elite guard of the the Imperator of the Ogre Empire, and the Imperator of the Ogre Empire himself. Now, the Ogres won that battle barely, but those completely disheveled, nondescript, worthless warlocks managed to do so much damage. Warlock magic is way stronger than other types of magic, and there's lore reasons for that, which I'll get into, during the actual lore run. But the reference here, the significance here, is that to again further answer Little Billy's question, at least a little bit, the more you give yourself to demonic power, the stronger you become, and the more you lose yourself. Eventually, you will become nothing more than a slavering animal. But even before that, you become nothing but a puppet. You are nothing more than a stooge of the actual Legion. So, it's literally one of those. You gain power in exchange. You gain power in exchange for all that makes power worthwhile, kind of a situations. So yeah, a warlock. There's actually a huge warlock story arc, which I will not be able to show live, I'm afraid. Sorry, guys. During Pandaria, which is literally about you, a warlock, going after another warlock who went too far, and trying to take him down. I actually did that live on the stream. The video's still on my YouTube if you want to go watch it. But yeah. Let's see. I swear there was one other thing I wanted to talk about. Are there any more questions before I cut this off? Anything else? All demons are not part of the Legion. All demons are not part of the Legion. Demons, there's a whole story thing about that, but suffice it to say, demons literally have to eat magic. And various types, there are different types of magic, of course, but they have to eat magic to survive. And it's kind of built into them that they have a hunger for it. It's not just a requirement. They thirst for magic. So it is possible for other individuals, like Illidan, to provide a massive source of magic, and that will literally cause those demons to switch sides, to go ahead and just serve him because he has that massive font of magic. Yeah, I'm sure the WoW side is crushed right now. Not all of them deacon, and there's actually more complications to that. There's actually two terms when it comes to demons. There's demons and there's fel. The difference between the two seems minute, but it boils down to one was turned into demonic power, one was initially demonic power. So that does change quite a few things in terms of significance. But not everything, because even Archimonde, who was fel, not demonic, still has the demonic aspect of his soul being thrust back to the nether whenever he's defeated. Do I ship Tyrande and Illidan? Get that out of your mouth.
No.
Get that out of your mouth. Nom, 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 nom. I don't ship in general. I do occasionally, I'll admit it. Every now and again, I think, these two people should be together. Raynor and Kerrigan, excuse me. But I will say that I think Tyrande would be better suited with Illidan in his best of form. I do have to put it that way. Illidan when he's in his right mind than Malfurion. But part of that is because Malfurion just cannot seem to find his balls lately. I'm not sure what's up with that. He had them once upon a time. We know this. And then he just kind of stopped. And I actually have a theory about that, but moving along. Any other... Aha! Yes, Samurai had a question for me. I remember that. Okay. If you have... I don't either, Dakota. I'm not into Tyrande at all. Oh yeah, I'm pretty hyped. I gotta be 100%. I'm pretty hyped about this. I was expecting a lackluster expansion that I would probably buy, enjoy, and then put down. What I am seeing is an expansion that looks, grain of salt, like it's going to be amazing. Great storyline, great new mechanics, great everything. I mean, 100% great. I'm just like, yeah! So I'm really hoping they actually fulfill. They actually make this as awesome as it sounds. But anyways, so... if you have never played WoW before, this is a very good time to play it. It has been since Kata. Ever since they made the new world, if you don't know what that means, I'll explain during the lore run, but ever since the new world of Cataclysm, it's been a good time to get into WoW. They have revamped all the old quests, so they're awesome. The leveling curve has finally been smoothed out. The difficulty curve has been smoothed out. There's a class balance thing, which is kind of good and kind of bad, but I think is still a net positive. So I'll have to rewatch it, Liberated. I don't know what I was doing. I was just like, oh, I remember my thoughts. I just don't know what it looked like. But if you want to get into it, I recommend you do two things. First, I recommend you go ahead, you do the free thing, the level 20 thing. Try it out. Play a class, whatever sounds interesting. This is the thing that I consider as a net positive, but does still have negatives. Okay. All the classes, after all the years, have been designed enough so that you can play any of them relatively as well as the rest. Now, if you don't understand what I mean by this, you probably haven't played as many MMOs as I have. I have played so many MMOs. I mean, I've basically played all of them. In many MMOs, let's say there's 5 classes. We'll make this easy. 5 classes. These 2, when they're leveling, have a hugely difficult time. Okay? Because of the way they're designed, because of their class thing, they're not well balanced. They're just like grinding, struggling to level. These 2 have too easy of a time. They're easy moding it. And this guy's the one who's actually properly balanced. This is the norm for most MMOs. Now, this is because most MMOs design their class balance based off of endgame. Completely, solely off of endgame. So in those MMOs, and I'm going to mention one specifically, Lord of the Rings Online. In Lord of the Rings Online, in Lotro, leveling as certain classes is just, oh god, why am I not leveled yet? In many cases, as one class, I actually had to ask friends to group with me just to quest, just to level. But when I actually reached endgame, then I was actually useful, as long as I was in a group. WoW does things differently. You can level as a healer. You can level as a tank. You can level as a warrior. You can level as a warlock. You can level as a mage. As far as the curve going up, it is all smoothed out. It actually works. So the reason I'm mentioning this to you specifically, Samurai, is that it doesn't matter what you play, because all of them will be capable of leveling and enjoying the experience. That's why I recommend you do the level 20 thing first. You know, the free thing, the free, I don't know what it's called, but you get WoW for free and you can play to level 20, that thing. You do that, you try out the classes. What sounds fun? Because you don't need, I need to be a tank, I need to be a ranged DPS, I need to be a melee DPS. You don't need to be anything. Find something you enjoy. Find something you want to play as. Find something that sounds interesting, either in lore or just in mechanics. Play that, and there you go. Trial, thank you. I could not get the word trial out there.
I choo-choo.
No, it's the choo-choo. Attack the choo-choo, attack the choo-choo.
No.
Here, come here for a sec,
Choo-choo, choo-choo.
Open your mouth. All the way. Okay, you're doing a lot better. Mwah.
Choo-choo, choo-choo,
Um,
choo-choo. Choo-choo, choo-choo.
That's right.
Choo-choo.
So, and yeah, I agree on the Wildstar comment as well. Jaina. Jaina. Could you go over by your thing, please? Thank you.
What is it?
It's where your magnets are. Where was I? I guess that's it. Does anybody else have any questions? I still feel like there's something else I wanted to talk about. But I talked about the talent system. I talked about why I like the honor system. I talked about why I like the Gul'dan thing. I talked about God, what else did I talk about? Slash train. Yeah, now they have the switch between specs at will thing, which is actually really nice. I talked about PvE. I thought I talked about PvE. I feel like there's something I'm missing that I wanted to discuss. Hey, Flawless. Can anyone remember? Because I wish I'd had some paper present with me at the time. I should have just wrote it down in a notebook. Oh, the garrison thing. Kind of. Right. I was going to talk about why garrisons are wrong. Okay. Right and wrong. Okay. So, here's the thing about the garrisons thing. Okay. Garrisons are literally as good as they are bad. What'd you do?
I hurt
Where?
on my foot.
Okay, here, I'll kiss it and make it feel better. Ready?
Yeah.
Is that better? Okay. Okay, one more. Is that better?
I can't.
One more time. Last time. Nope, that was the last time. Go on. You feel better. I know you do. Okay. Up you get. See the background? Garrisons are exactly what they should be while you're leveling. They serve as a way to, because remember, if you're leveling through the quest, you come back to your garrison every now and again. There's like story arcs that weave through the garrison. The garrison itself is an active part of the story arc of Warlords. As we mentioned earlier, the garrison is us becoming a commander and then a general. This is us becoming landed. This is ours. Okay, we are now an important politically powerful individual in the Horde or the Alliance, and it shows with regards to the gameplay. And they actually, what are you doing?
I'm touching it.
Okay, they are actually showing through gameplay and through story just how politically connected and powerful we have actually become. And that actually has several significance. I don't want to go all the details because I'll do that while I'm doing through the lore run. But it was a really awesome, amazing thing while we were leveling.
Where's my chalk?
It's over there. Go get it. Get it. That was the good part.
I can't see my chalk.
Well, you got to look for it.
Is it on the table?
The bad thing is when we got to endgame.
Is it on?
Garrisons lost all of that significance when we reached endgame. At that point, it was no longer about the advancement of our career. It was no longer about the story. It was no longer about, us having the Acumen. We had no significance. The garrison campaign itself lasted hardly any time at all. At endgame, the garrison was just a place to do crafting, and to send people off on Facebook missions, and that was it. There was no purpose in garrisons at endgame. Except at the same time, if you do want to min-max, you had to do garrisons at endgame. And in order to balance this out, they decided to make garrisons so valuable. There's a thing in designing, which is, it's kind of a paradox. You want to make something valuable so that people will feel rewarded for doing it, right? You want to give players a reason, a motivation to do an action. But it's extremely easy to make it so rewarding that it becomes mandatory. They have to do this because it is so valuable and it is so rewarding. That's what garrisons became. It was so much quicker and easier and better to get all your ore there, to get your herbs there, to finish off your crafting, to make money. They had to do a nerf to gold from missions because people were just making missions money sitting in the garrisons. So it became too valuable. Now, I think the new shipyard thing is actually a nice touch on that. It's a better way to push that forward. It makes you more engaged, basically. It requires you to do more than just say, yes, go. So I like what they're doing with the shipyard, but my reason for bringing this up, too, is I really, really hope the class hub things don't become this. They don't become another garrison situation. I have always liked the idea of a central neutral city in WoW. This might be partial. Oh, I need to talk about the 2 specs thing, too. Remind me about the 2 specs thing. I've always liked the idea of a central hub. Part of that might be literally nostalgia. Part of it might be, I liked Shatrith. I liked Dalaran. I liked, there wasn't really one in Cata, but I liked the cities in Pandaria. So I like the idea. Yeah, Tekoida, that's a similar idea. I liked the idea of one central place that you always go to, where everyone hangs out, where everyone wants to just be like, hey, what's up? I'm one of those people who in vanilla, I used to love just walking around Ironforge and talking with people. For those of you who don't know, Ironforge was the Alliance capital in lore and in gameplay back in vanilla. Jaina? No. No.
There.
No.
Under there.
No.
No.
You want a spanking?
No.
Of course you don't. So why don't you come play with your toys instead?
No.
But they're your toys.
No, they're not.
I think it's nap time, little one.
I don't want to.
Tell you what, you go play with your toys, and then it won't be nap time just now, okay?
But I want to sit down with you.
You want what?
I sit down with you.
You can do that.
And then
So I liked the idea. No, it. Damn it, Oman. Well, I say that, Raskar, because on my server in particular, it's actually Stormwind. But yeah, there's a lot of reasons for it. I'll talk about that during the lore run. Suffice it to say, I like the central hub idea. It's a great way to interact with other players. It's a great way to just hang out. It's a great place to roleplay. It's a great place to have, okay, here's where all the stuff you can do is when you're not off adventuring or doing missions. And I know this sounds weird, but a lot of players, myself included, like to just log in and roam around the city. Now, you might think that's weird because we're not really doing anything per se, but we're socializing, we're interacting, we're enjoying the environment, and a central hub is a great way to do that. It's one of the crucial things Warlord missed. You could say, oh, we have a central hub. No, we don't. That Ashran thing is not a central hub. Don't tell me that. It's poorly laid out, badly designed, not interesting to be in, and so people don't like to be there. There's not a lot of reasons to be there. There are more people in Orgrimmar and in Stormwind, at least on my server, than there are in the Ashran cities. And our garrisons are layered, so it's just us. We actively lacked a hub in Warlords, and I feel like we actually were detract for that. That's another mistake I feel they made in Warlords. Okay, 2 specs. I love the 2 specs idea. Let me explain what I mean by this. They have been married to the 3 specs idea for a long time. Now, they've already started to walk... What are you doing?
I'm trying to do this.
Okay, you can lay down. That's okay. They have been married to the 3 specs idea for too long. What I mean by this is they did the 3 specs originally. It was for good reasons. It made sense. Then the game advanced, and they started doing the 3 specs thing with new classes because they'd already done the 3 specs thing, if that makes sense. So it became kind of a hindrance and a hassle to stick to the 3 specs thing. Now, the first step they made away from that, saying we don't have to follow the tradition here, was actually with Druids. Druids actually have 4 specs. That was a good move, in my opinion. And the 4 specs thing was a really good idea, so I like that. So when I was designing Demon Hunters in my mind, which I've done many times because I'm not only a game designer but a total freaking geek, I kept running into this wall because I couldn't really picture Demon Hunters being healers. I mean, it would be a cool idea. I like the concept. It's not going to happen. So I just ejected that from my mind. So 2 specs, 2 DPS, 1 tank, right? If you follow me. But I'm staring at this and I'm like, well, what's going to differ? What's the difference between these 2 DPS specs? This is a problem we've run into with rogues and hunters across the year, especially. Now, tank was obvious, but how do you vary DPS specs? And I kept running into that wall because I was married to the 3 spec idea too. The fact that they have removed the 3 spec idea and gone back to, and literally just said, no, there's a damager and there's a tank. I like that. If for no other reason, it means they're burning tradition, they're breaking tradition in order to better the gameplay, because I do think that is a good move in this case. I don't think you can vary DPS specs amongst Demon Hunter enough so that the 2 DPS specs would feel significant. I like the idea of there just being the DPS Demon Hunter and the tank Demon Hunter. Let me explain a couple reasons why. First of all, from a design philosophy, whoa, careful there, kiddo. There's 2 specs for Demon Hunters, Radix. Damn it, pay attention, man. So...
Don't hold on to that.
Well, then go down, because I got to talk. Okay, I'm almost done. Then it'll be nap time.
But I want...
Do you want to sit with me?
Yeah.
Okay, come sit with me. Where was I? From a design perspective, it is harder to make it feel different to play through a thing while still balancing it. So that's different. That's difficult and different to do. Second point, if balancing 3 specs, or rather 2 specs in this case, is a lot harder to do than balancing 1. And this is the final reason, but this is the most important one, okay? If you have to spend more development time trying to hammer, like, let me explain how they did this with hunters some time ago. I know this because I actually knew one of the people who worked on this design thing. Where? Where? Where?
I scratched myself.
Where is it?
It's right there.
I don't believe you. Are you lying to me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Those are my right.
They spent... Basically what they did was they built a DPS spec for hunters. Just 1 spec, and then they chopped it into bits and tried to work from there. And it was apparently a huge hassle. Jaina. It was a huge hassle A hugely difficult thing to do.
I have a bug bite.
I know you do. I'm going to put some calamine on it later, okay?
But now,
I can't do it now. You're sitting in my lap. I can't do it while you're in my lap.
I get it out.
Well, go ahead then.
And then we'll put them on.
We will continue this, I swear. Don't let me forget, because this is the important part. Where? Okay, right here?
Yeah.
Where? Exactly. Because I don't see... Oh, I see it right there. It's a little bug bite, but that still counts. And let's get this one right here. We don't want these bugs to have little Jaina. It's no wonder they eat you so much. You are so sweet, my dear. I know that's a cheesy, terrible thing to say, but it's totally true. Is that all of them? Oh, there's one right there. Let's get that one too, okay? And that'll make it feel a lot better, okay?
Is it on my leg?
Yes, now you can't sit on my lap again because you have calamine on. Remember, it has to dry off, okay? So you gotta go dry off.
Okay.
Okay.
Is that drying off right there? Is it feeling bad?
I hope it's feeling better. Calamine hand. Oh, you can't see. Anyways, it is creatively straining to try and make something still enjoyable but different from something else. So, for example, if I'm sitting down and I have to make these two DPS specs for the same class, it's more of a hassle, a stress, and a strain than you'd think, because again, you want to make them distinct from each other. Otherwise, it's just you call it a different name and it has different abilities.
Let's go now.
That's because the sun's setting, little one. It's almost nap time. So that's Tor had this problem at several points in its history, especially when it came out. There were several specs in Tor that were basically indistinct from each other. There was like no reason to play one or the other. It was just you were a DPS or a slightly different DPS, right? They didn't feel different. So there was no point in it. Now, Redix, everything I'm saying about two DPS applies to 2 tank equally. Exactly the same. There is literally no difference. How do you distinguish them? How do you make them feel different? How do you make them work different? Well, you can do that. I'm not saying it's impossible. What I am saying is they're trying to get an expansion out quickly. They're trying to push out an expansion so they don't lose interest for everything I mentioned before. So if you want them to waste time on a third spec that isn't necessary, because they've already got the tank and the DPS spec, and that third spec is completely superfluous at that point, it's something that would be nice to do, I guess, if they had time. Or they could just chop it. And that's why I like this idea. They decided, rather than sticking with tradition, they're just going to chop it off and say, no, we're not going to waste our time. We're going to focus all of our effort on making the DPS spec awesome and the tank spec awesome, because those are 2 very clearly, distinctly different types of game styles, so that's already built in. No wasted time, no wasted creative effort, no strain, no stress, right? So I finally finished talking about Demon Hunters. I don't know. Hey, Sice. Hey, Berenian. Hey, Yodripple. I already talked about Dalaran. Bless you. I don't remember what else I was going to talk about. Other questions. Go. What else was I going to talk about? Well, you can have them heal, but it would take some interesting things for a Demon Hunter to be a healer. This is your last chance. Because I'm going to cut off the stream and put her down for a nap after this, and then upload this to YouTube. I already talked about the artifacts. Illidan, I already talked about Illidan. It's obvious they kept focusing... I already talked about Dalaran. It's obvious they were already focusing on Ashbringer specifically, because everyone knows Ashbringer. Everyone's like, yeah, Ashbringer. But as you saw, there's quite a few other artifacts. I already talked about artifact customization. I already talked about that. Rewind, or watch this on YouTube. Magic. Ashia. They feed on magic. I don't even know what Corey in the house is, Sterlings. Yes, it is Zagoten, but only for one reason, because people are whining bastards. I'll explain more during the lore run, but basically, people really didn't like the New World. They were like, there's no new content in Cataclysm, even though that is fundamentally wrong. And there was so much negative feedback about that we're probably never going to get a revamp again, so thanks, whining bastards. So, that's it. I'm not seeing any new questions. I'm going to chop this off. I'm going to upload this to YouTube. I don't know if I'm going to stream later today. I got to record some new concerning premises. So I'll see you around, guys.